And we are live. Hey, everybody, this is Roberto Blake helping you create something awesome today. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to be talking about finding your audience, finding your niche, and we're going to teach you why you need to niche down to your audience, mind you, not a topic, and that's how you're going to beat the dreaded YouTube algorithm, and you can stop living in fear of the algorithm and you can focus on what matters most, making high effort content that people actually want to watch. By the way, thank you to our good friends over at StreamYard. You can check them out, linked in the description down below. But let's get on with the show today. I want to thank everybody in the live stream. Also, shout out to everybody watching the replay of this stream. We're going to try and do this maybe 2 to 3 times a week. And I really want you guys to understand this concept of your audience avatar. In terms of your audience avatar, it's probably one of the most important things you can really learn about and understand as a content creator. So I'm really excited for you all to learn a little bit more about that. There's also a couple of things I want to make you aware of and tease up. We do have a series of giveaways coming along because we do have the 600,000 subscriber milestone coming up very, very soon. So we're giving away some DECDIE microphones and some other prizes for that. Also, we're going to be doing a giveaway every time I get to another 100,000 subscribers. So this announcement's not outdated. We'll do a giveaway all the way to the road to 1 million subscribers whenever we reach 100,000 subscribers. So make sure you're sharing the channel, sharing the stream, you're participating. Details coming soon. You've seen me post some of the photos of the prizes in the YouTube community tab. You want to make sure you're keeping up with things over there as well, where we run polls, answer a bunch of your questions. Same thing for Twitter. So just want to make you aware of that. I think it's going to be really dope. Make sure you're sharing out this live stream. We're going to be doing this kind of thing 2 to 3 times a week. Hopefully, that's the goal anyway. And I think that's going to be extremely helpful. So something I want to bring up that I do feel is going to help a lot of you is actually have, some portions of a presentation here. So this is something we actually train on and teach in Awesome Creator Academy. Make sure you're visiting awesomecreatoracademy.com. Consider joining the pro group. But we actually train on this, and this really helps you. I came up with a framework for this called Deeper. And it's really about understanding your customer and your audience avatar. And so whether you're a YouTuber, you're a podcaster, you're a streamer, this becomes extremely important because most of you are struggling on YouTube because you don't truly understand your audience. And if you don't understand your audience, you cannot make good thumbnails because you don't understand the psychology of what they find attractive. You can't demonstrate value, and value for the viewer is what makes people click on a video. It has nothing to do with how many subscribers you have. That's not what grows you on YouTube. Subscribers are not doing that for you. That's not the answer. You need other things, and you need to understand what your audience values. And every niche in YouTube, the audience and what they value is very, very different. And you can choose your audience. That's the trick to all of this. When we talk about niching down, we're talking about to an audience because you're choosing the people that you're going to be in a community with. It's like choosing your lunch table back in high school and figuring out whether, I'm going to be at the nerd table. Oh, I'm going to be a jock. Oh, I'm going to sit with the cheerleaders. I'm going to whatever it is. You got to choose the group of people that you're going to be around and choose your community very wisely. And that's what is going to dictate what they care about. So when we talk about your audience avatar, we're talking about everything from demographics. The demographics are the things we see in YouTube when we see things like the geography. Where do people live? And where people live, that affects your AdSense revenue, right? I hope y'all in the chat, let me know if you understood this. You do understand that geography affects your AdSense revenue and how many ads play and what they're worth, right? You guys do understand that. You have been watching my monetization videos to know that geography is a big part of demographics that affect your channel. Okay. So that's a big thing. Another thing is age. If your audience is older, more affluent, they have a different culture. They have different things that they value. And if they're more affluent, they'll get different ads as well. And that will impact your money too. So, and also impact what they will click on. Audiences that are older do not click on the Mr. Beast thumbnails with they don't click on the Mr. Beast style thumbnails as much. So all of you looking at Mr. Beast and beastification doesn't really work on an audience that's over like 28. It works on a Gen Z audience. It doesn't work when you start getting to older millennials, people over 30, Gen X, boomers, and they spend a lot of time on the internet. And the thing is, it's not like Gen Z is the only group of people on the internet. And I think a lot of you who are my audience, you understand this because most of you in my audience are over 30 anyway. A lot of you are millennials, Gen X, boomers. There's only a few people in this community that are Gen Z. The hustlers are, but Mr. Beast and those methods and beastification don't work as well as you get into older audiences, to be honest with you. So demographics matter because it's a matter of perspective, values, culture, what people will and won't click on, what they will pay attention to, what they care about, that sort of thing. We got Contempo Coding making one of my favorite internet jokes. I'm GeoCities years old. Yeah, shout out to all the old heads who remember GeoCities, Lycos, Angel Fire, Homestead.com. Shout out to the real ones. Shout out to the real ones. People who remember You Got Mail. Like, yeah, we're that generation. But yeah, if you were born in 97, you might feel much more like a millennial. You might feel like you might be the oldest person in Gen Z or the youngest millennial. So definitely shout out to any of you who kind of are in that kind of category here in the community. So that's a real thing. So demographics matter. Experiences matter. What experiences do your audience share? Primary example, if you are talking to people of a certain age, you can look at this, not just age, you could look at lifestyle, right? You could look at lifestyle. So are you talking to people who are older, who work a full-time job? Are you talking to people who are younger and in college and share those experiences, share those things in common? Because that's also a cultural difference too, in terms of those experiences. Are you talking to people who have families? What is the experiences that are shared by your audience avatar? If your audience, let's say that you're making content and you're making content that is very family centric, right? Then that means that there are experiences and things that go on, which means you're going to be dealing with people who have school schedules, children, that sort of thing. Let's say you're dealing with people in a tech audience. If you're dealing with people in a tech audience, you know that there's certain language and certain things you can say that normal, non-technical people won't get, and that there's inside jokes you can make, that sort of thing. So it's about shared experiences with the audience and the community that you need to understand. And you need to know what those things are. You need to know, hey, if you're doing a younger audience, you might not want to upload your videos at a certain time. Why? Because they're going to be at school. So all right, you don't do that. It's that sort of thing. I know that I have an older crowd. You know what? It's not an accident that I chose 6:30 p.m. I chose this time for the East Coast after work crowd because I know my demographics. I know my audience is, going to be working age. You're not, going to be students. I know that it's going to be people who are working age. I know that most of my audience actually resides on the East Coast. So I know 6:30 was a good time. I know that in terms of experiences that, okay, it's going to be older people who have a job. And so I was able to cater around those demographics and those experiences. Expectations, depending on what you are doing, that could set tone. If you are speaking to a certain group, the expectations might be that they want, if you position yourself maybe as a tech professional or expert, or you positioned yourself as somebody that is supposed to be goofy, lighthearted, entertaining is their distraction. You build a persona like PewDiePie, that sort of thing. So it could be that in terms of expectations. Preferences, knowing your audience's preferences, knowing whether or not they like stuff that is more authentic, real, or they like things that are edited and highly polished, stylized. Do they like fast paced? Do they like laid back? Do they like high energy or do they like mellow? Do they like someone who's calm and collected? There's a difference between being hyper energetic. Not everyone digs that. Some people like things that are more laid back, like MKBHD or even myself. So preferences matter. Then there's engagement. You can learn a lot more about your audience if you participate and you engage with them. So being able to do things like, go deeper with your audience with live streams, things like the community tab, like I do on a regular basis, replying to comments on YouTube and Twitter all the time. This will help you learn your audience if you actually engage with them and if you actually try to build real community with them. And then you can take all this experience and everything you've learned, and you can make revisions and you can update your content strategies and your approach by taking all this to account and then changing the way you're approaching things. So this is why the deeper framework is really important. And if you focus on this, we talk a lot about how the algorithm follows the audience. And I found that to be very true, to be honest with you. The algorithm does follow the audience. It's not just something that YouTube just says. It's real. Okay. And when you look at this deeper framework, don't you just at a glance on slide number 1, when you start thinking about this, doesn't this help you understand who you're trying to reach and what they would like more? You can see how this helps you make a better title, choose the right topics, have a better thumbnail, how this can inform your video production and editing strategy, how this would inform your script writing, how this would dictate your publishing time, even dictate your monetization strategy. If you know demographics, you're like, okay, my audience can afford this. They have these experiences. They prioritize this. They really need this problem solved in their life. They have this much budget. You can understand, oh, they prefer these brands, not these brands. So that's who my sponsors are going to be. This framework is so powerful. And we teach this in Awesome Creator Academy. And Wendy Coop here is one of our members, one of our OG members. Like, this is something I teach in the pro group. So you can visit awesomecreatoracademy.com if you're interested in the pro group. But we go hard on this. But this gives you a top line overview of really, truly, deeply, madly understanding your audience and what they really care about. And what they value is what they will give their views to. What they value is what they'll give their views to. It also dictates what affiliate links they will click on, what sponsorships they will support, what will make them share your content with other people and help you grow. This framework by itself, and this is just one of those things that we teach. We have like a lot of things like this, is powerful. And this is just one, this is just slide 1. Let's go on to just kind of like drilling into this a little bit deeper, because I want you to really understand this. The demographic thing is so important because even with your thumbnail design, if your audience is older, your thumbnail design is going to be radically different than if your audience is younger. If your audience is younger, the brands that they will support, the causes that they will support will be radically different. The communication style you use changes with people 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. It's just that different. And it's so important. And so the thing is, you have to start to look at your data, which is why we look at the last part for revisions, and you start to say, who is most of my audience? And then how can I bridge the gap sometimes between these? So then what do I look for? I look for shared experiences that can go across my 3 biggest demographics. So I look at the shared experiences that people in my audience will have, whether they're 20s or 30s or 40s, whether they're men or women, whether they live on the East Coast or West Coast, what things and experiences and values and interest will they have in common? That way I don't alienate a large portion of my audience and I have the maximum potential with them. So that's something that I think is extremely important to consider. And that's also how we can use the data properly and how we bridge, the D to the E here. And then in terms of expectations, what are your audience's desires, needs, and problems? So again, primary example, I already know that because you're content creators, I know what your problems are. Problems are, a lot of you struggle with time to make your content because a lot of you are adults, you're working class creators, you work 40 hours a week at a regular job. And so you don't have a lot of time or energy to make your content. A lot of you can't find a quiet place sometimes to film your content. What I come up with for y'all, I told y'all one of the ultimate secrets as an adult content creator, if you're not a full-time creator, if you need a quiet place to film, you get a library card, you get a meeting room at the library, and it's a quiet, well-lit place you have all to yourself, and it is free. This is free, mind you, and you can record your videos at the library. You can record your audio at the library. You can record your interviews at the library. You can record your podcast at the library because you can rent a room for free with your library card and it is quiet. That is not a solution I would come up with if I did not understand my audience and understand that a lot of you don't have a quiet place. You don't have a full setup like me. You don't have a home office like me. Sometimes you work full time. You've got kids screaming in the background and you're like, oh, I can't film a bloody video. Well, guess what? I just came up with a solution for you. I just came up with one of the perfect answers, and that would do it. And it's free, which eliminates the other problem of the investment capital you need to be a creator. So I know my audience very well, and that's why I can come up with a solution like that and deal with your experiences, your expectations, your desires, your needs, and your problems. I've thought of that. I considered that a lot of you're not graphic designers like me. So what I do, I made the YouTube starter kit. So with the YouTube starter kit, I made over 100 Photoshop templates for you for 99 bucks. I think we're running a discount right now. I'll try to put that in the description for you and put the discount code in the description for you. And so I built a product, which is my best-selling product of all time. I think 1,600, 1,700 of you have this product now, the YouTube Starter Kit. I came up with 100 Photoshop thumbnails for you, 100 channel ideas for you, title formulas, the best fonts to use for your thumbnails. I linked to them. Because why? I know people aren't graphic designers like me. I know you struggle with thumbnails. So I've thought of this. I know you struggle with ideas. I know you struggle with titles. So I thought of this. I put a lot of effort into it because it's about understanding your audience. A lot of you tell me you don't know what to sell and you don't know how to make money on YouTube. A big part of that would change the more you get to understand your audience, and you need to write some of these things down. Something I'm working on is a workbook guide for people to write down things about their audience so they can understand them a lot better. And so that can help you dramatically when it comes to this approach and in knowing what sponsors you're going to get, because you know what your audience will align with and what they will support. You know what they can afford, and you are putting yourself in a position to serve them better. And then in terms of building your own products or building your own memberships to make money, building your own products and building your own memberships to make money, you'll know what to do about that because you'll understand what they will buy, what they can afford, what problem it's solving. Give me 1 second. I gotta get you guys this 40% off code here real quick. Boop, 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 boop. Yep. And I'm going to post this in the chat. I'm also posting this in the description for you because we're going to save you 40% until the end of September on the YouTube Starter Kit. Over 100 Photoshop templates and other resources for you. One quick second. And while I'm doing that, you guys can read a little bit more about the deeper framework there. But yeah, that stuff becomes really important to help you when it comes to taking things to a whole nother level with your audience. And so we've posted that in the chat now, and I believe it's now updated in the description for you if you were to refresh. So again, preferences. Preferences are about what content your audience engages with the most. So when you want to go back into your analytics, and we do this a lot, we look at analytics a lot here. I can even show you something real quickly with my own analytics and how I tend to think of this. I'm going to bring up the lifetime analytics for the channel, and I'll show you a little bit of data. Actually, in fact, I don't even have to bring up the lifetime analytics. I can just show you some of what's going on now with the analytics, and this will make the point about preferences and about revisions. So if I go to YouTube Studio now, we bring this up, and let me make this a little bit bigger for you. One of the reasons that we're going to be streaming more on this channel, and we're going to be streaming 2 to 3 times a week, is I noticed something. In the last 28 days, aside from a recent video that's done extremely well, it's at almost 80,000 views, most of the hits and traffic on the channel have been previous live streams, and you all seem to really, really enjoy the live streams, even the replays of these, and you're giving it phenomenal average view duration. You're watching my top 10 most viewed things in the last 28 days. You're giving hour-long plus average view durations to some of this content. So I've come to realize something. You guys like deep dives, because a lot of people don't go deep on YouTube. A lot of people do not share their own analytics. A lot of people don't collect case studies. A lot of people don't do massive workshops and things. They're held back for courses and so on. And I'm going to sell courses at some point, but if you like the free stuff, you'll love what I'm doing paid. You're getting a taste of some of it. And the Academy members can tell you what's up. Anyone who's done coaching with me can tell you what's up. The thing I noticed is you all seem to love extremely deep step-by-step content where I go into the weeds of things and where I hold your hand through it and where I answer every question, and it's incredibly valuable, or where I literally share my screen and I work on something from scratch, like designing merch in Photoshop, setting up the store in Spreadshop. Shout out to the Spreadshop team. You guys like that stuff. You guys like when I go hard into the analytics and bring up excruciating details of data, monetization, so on and so forth. So knowing that that's the case, I understand that. And I've decided to commit more to these live streams and to try to do them maybe 2 to 3 times a week. You guys might have noticed I scheduled the next 4 live streams. So we're going to be doing it live and we're going to be doing it big. So that is understanding preferences. That could mean, does your audience rock more with shorts? Does your audience rock more with live streams and deep dives? Do they love edited, polished video? So that's incredibly valuable. Speaking of questions, we have a super chat here. Home Rapid Repair, $20 super chat. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you. And so Home Rapid Repair asks, I know my niche, but I'm still new to YouTube. Can live stream really grow my audience, or do I have to be a large channel first? Actually, I know several small channels growing purely off of live streaming right now. Live streaming is the most underrated, underestimated format in YouTube. Also right now, it's literally the most profitable format in YouTube. I did an entire video. A lot of people did not watch this one as much on the most profitable types of videos on YouTube. I think that one has less than 20,000 views on it. It's a 20-minute video. I go heavily into this. Podcast and live streams are 2 of the most lucrative money-generating formats in YouTube. It is not even close, my friend. Not even close. Consider the fact that to make $20 on YouTube with one of the highest CPMs that exist in YouTube right now, I would have to actually, to get $20, I would have to get for me 2,000 views on a video. That's not a lot. I get about $10 for every 1,000 views on a video. So 2,000 to make $20, not a lot. However, to make a video that gets any views at all, I still have to put in a lot of hours and hours into the editing script. I don't script fully, but I do outlines. I do my research. I put my thoughts together, so on and so forth. I script the hooks at least, title, thumbnail, all those things. By comparison, live streaming is infinitely more lucrative than editing a video. And the thing is, with a small and loyal, dedicated audience, you make more from live streaming regularly than you do from edited videos. And when you do it, when it's done, it's done. And for a lot of you who are working class creators, you're underestimating live streaming, and you're underestimating the loyalty of an audience. People will support. They will throw $2, $5, $10, $20, and everything like that, being part of a community, because normally that money will go to vending machines, soda, snack here or there, very little things and everything like that, DoorDash, that sort of thing. And so people would, in many cases, rather say, you know what, I'd rather actually just give this person who's creating value for me $5 than just put it to one of my vices anyway. And so people are extraordinarily loyal in the YouTube community. Live streaming is a great format, and you don't have to be huge. Even if you have enough subscribers to monetize with live streaming, 500 subscribers, 3,000 hours of watch time. It's worth doing if you at least meet the requirements. So for sure, would definitely recommend giving that a try. So thank you so much, Home Rapid Repair. Great super chat question. The link isn't working, you said? The link in the chat or the link in the description? The link in the description should be working because I did copy and paste it correctly, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, the link in the description should be working. And then use the code that I gave you if you want 40% off of the YouTube starter kit. And that's definitely a great way to support the channel, but you also get a great product. Over 1,600, 1,700 creators have used the YouTube starter kit, have benefited from it. For those of you who are not familiar with what I'm talking about, this is the YouTube starter kit we sell over at awesomecreatoracademy.com. It's not a course, but what we do have is we have some guides in terms of monetization guide, the gear guide, but the really important thing is we have over 100 Photoshop templates, and you can edit these for free without Photoshop using Adobe Express. Even though they're Photoshop files, you can edit them for free with Adobe Express. We checked. And we also give you title formulas. We're adding more to those. I'm actually going to even add some of my ChatGPT automations to this. We give you 100 video ideas to jumpstart your channel, 100 fonts best to use with direct downloads to them for YouTube thumbnails so that you don't struggle with, oh, what font am I going to use? You have stuff people will be able to actually read. We give you a lot of great stuff here, and we're added to it. You get lifetime updates because the members in our pro group get access to every product I've ever made. Our pro group members get access to every product I've ever made. So because of our pro group members who pay monthly, we maintain all of my digital products and we do regular updates to them throughout the year because of the pro group members. So you end up getting that value. Even if you buy something from me one time, you will get lifetime updates on that product as long as I always have pro group members, because we'll be updating it for them as well. So everybody wins. I kind of did a reverse of the Adobe model. You can buy products from me, or you can subscribe on a subscription and get access to all my products, but you can buy something and own it forever if you want. So I kind of just did the opposite of the Adobe business model. And so this is something we put together for you. And this is something I've linked in the description and that we sell. But again, I could only do this because I understand that that's a problem that creators have that I was able to solve with my background. And so that's why understanding your audience, analyzing them, knowing their experiences, knowing their struggles, knowing what they want, whether it's education, entertainment, lifestyle, becomes important. Engaging with the community, seeing what their problems were. I knew how to solve this problem because we did so many channel reviews where the problem was the thumbnails. So it's understanding these kind of things that really help you. And that's why, you know, the deeper framework is something I'm very proud of and that we teach. And for those of you just joining the stream, we'll just go back to the beginning of the slide here. This deeper framework is all about understanding your audience and building out your audience avatar and understanding what would matter and what would resonate with them and why it would be important. And I think that it's so valuable for people. I think it's incredibly valuable. Something else, and we won't go through maybe all of it here, but something else is I did come up with kind of something that I believe will help a lot of you. And this is something we teach in the academy as well. I'm just going to kind of glance through a little bit of it because I don't want to spoil everything. But we came up with a 12-week creator playbook for YouTubers. And some of you who follow me on Twitter, you've seen this before. You've seen me talk about this on Twitter if you follow me over there, because one of the most powerful things you can do is level up as a creator, but most of you don't have kind of guidance or a path for leveling up as a creator. Just like a lot of you were like, well, what do you mean understand my audience avatar? What do you mean know what my audience cares about? What do you mean like that? Well, I gave it to you with the deeper framework. something else people do not talk about is what would a realistic plan to level up as a creator look like. So we came up with a 12-week plan to become a superior YouTube creator. And so we talk about week 1 is identifying your audience avatar. Focus on understanding who you're creating for. Like, do things like talk to people in Discord, Twitter, Reddit, really understand the community that you're being a part of. Then build a persona around them and figure out like what this person really wants, what they need, where do they spend their time, what other creators do they watch, why do they watch those creators, what's the aesthetic of that look like, what are their comments in that section, what are they disappointed with, what disenfranchises them, what do they wish that the creator would do. That's extremely important. And so we give an assignment, we give an action plan for this. It's like, okay, go out and create a detailed audience avatar that includes the demographics, the preferences, the pain points, and the goals that your viewer would have and why they would watch your content, So that becomes something that is really important for people. Then you niche down for your community. You focus and you figure out what exactly resonates with these people, what's an area of focus that plays to your strengths, by the way, and you'd focus on that. And you need to write a summary of that so that you understand it, and you need to come up with some unique video ideas for that niche. And so if you could do that, that would be a big way for you to level up in week 2 to say, okay, I've now understand who my community is, and I've come up with some very specific keywords that resonate around them. I've analyzed competitors in that niche. I understand what that community really cares about, and I've come up with at least 5 really unique video ideas for it. And then we talk so much about storytelling. Week 3 would be, become a master storyteller. Focus on learning the art of captivating your audience and building compelling narratives. Consider finding storytelling workshops online. Find books like Made to Stick by Chip Heath. Figure out scripting your videos more effectively and workshopping those. Make sure you have a compelling hook at the beginning of the video. Make sure there's a definitive beginning, middle, and end. Learn about Joseph Campbell and the hero's journey. That's really important. Read a book that really engrosses you. Read some fiction that really engrosses you that week, and then can contemplate on what made that author such a great storyteller and what captivated you about that and what makes you have a hunger for more from them. That's a way to approach this, so that's 3 weeks right there. Enhance your video editing skills. So few people bother to sit there and really train up their video editing skills until they need to put out a video. Why are you not training on video editing, dedicating time to just learning the techniques that you want to see in your videos and mastering them and putting some real thought behind that? And so that could be incredibly valuable to do that before you need to put out a video. That would be a plan. So that's week 4. Eye-catching thumbnails is the same thing. A lot of people do not train and work at making better thumbnails by learning the techniques that would let them make better thumbnails. You can learn Photoshop or Canva. You can do design tutorials. You could do that for a week straight and really just level up very quickly if you focus a couple of hours, 10, 20 hours in a week. And wow, you'll have massive improvement very quickly. Organizing and scheduling. This one is absurdly important. You realize how much more effective you'll be and how much quicker everything will go if you become a more organized person? What about taking a week to just organize your filing system for your videos and labeling your footage and getting really tuned up and cleaning out your computer and putting together a healthy schedule with some boundaries? I mean, Jesus, do you realize how much more thoughtful that would be and how much that would help you? Learn sound design. I mean, I got a soundboard right here.
Bruh.
Like, there's so much value in sound design for your videos and learning and mastering timing, learning how to enhance voiceover. And again, you do not have to sit there and go through a whole school year for this. You could just spend some time training this up without having to put out a video that same day, and you will improve. Same thing for learning motion graphics to improve your videos and learning your YouTube analytics. We do massive analytics deep dives here. So that becomes extremely valuable and becomes extremely important. Mastering your camera equipment. So many of you you don't learn how to properly use your camera settings that would allow you to produce better video. And that becomes something that more of you would be able to retain your audience or convert viewers to subscribers if you just could demonstrate some competency with learning your camera equipment, your lighting, your setup. All of that could be better. Your branding and aesthetics overall, and then ideation for your and refinement. And so we go heavier into this. I'm not going to spoil the entire thing. This is something we do with the pro group, but that just gives you some examples right then and there of things you could be doing to level up. So shout out to Avidin. Thank you for the $5 super chat. We really appreciate you. How to Vids has a question. Can you focus on how to create content pillars? I'm focusing on digital marketing and live streaming. Can you state those books again that you mentioned to read? Thanks so much for all that you do. So the book that we were looking at, there was a book that we mentioned here. Made to Stick by Chip Heath. That's a really good one. And then if you want to learn video production, there's a book called How to Shoot Video That Doesn't Suck. And then I would also recommend The War of Art, which I believe is done by Pressfield. So definitely would recommend those. In terms of focusing on content pillars. If we're going to focus on content pillars, which is like a whole training, and we've done something about this with content strategy before and talking about it. If we were going to focus on content pillars, the way that I might approach that, I think what we could do is we could look at one of my channels for that. So if we want to look at content pillars and we want to talk about that, I based the content pillars for my channel on the homepage around the strengths and the things I'm good at, but also the problems that I feel I'm capable of solving for my audience, aka all of you watching right now. So, I mean, let's look at what my content pillars are. Well, let's look at my channel as a whole, and this will give you some perspective on my approach to YouTube, and this might answer some questions. All right. So my approach to YouTube is very different. I'm not an entertainer. So take some of my advice with a grain of salt. If you're an entertainment channel, if you're an education channel, you can take this very literally to some degree. I will explain entertainment channels, and I'll even pivot to my music channel to give a little bit of perspective on that. But music is very different, even among entertainment. So again, grain of salt. I did do some entertainment content back in the day. I did very well with it. When I was a smaller channel, I could get 50, 80,000 views reviewing Game of Thrones. So don't think I can't do it. But I coach a lot of gaming channels to success. I helped a lot of creators get silver and gold play buttons with regard to that. In fact, actually, one of my clients, we're doing this now for some of my marketing. One of my clients sent me one of their silver play buttons. We're going to be getting a wall put together here. I have maybe 10 of my clients that I've coached successfully to silver play buttons. One or two have said they'll do it that I coached to gold play buttons. We're going to have a wall where we're going to mount like three. If I can get 3 of my clients that had gold play buttons, we're going to mount those 3 gold play buttons. This is the letter that comes from YouTube when you get 100,000. And then this is another silver play button. So I have my own silver play button. This one belongs to a client. We're going to be mounting like 10, 12 of my clients' silver play buttons up on the wall. We're going to have a wall of play buttons that help people earn. And then I think 3 of my clients probably their gold play buttons. They just order a second one from YouTube and I pay the shipping. And the point is, I'm not saying that as a humble brag. I'm saying that as a heads up for stuff you're going to see coming in the near future here. But also from a practical standpoint, the way I approach YouTube and the way I teach creators, I think in every one of the 18 category verticals that YouTube has, the 18 category verticals that we know about, they're not niches. They're just category verticals, usually for advertising. I've helped someone get a play button in each of those so far. And my goal would be to kind of get each of those mounted on the wall. And then after we've gotten all the silver ones, circle back, help creators get to gold in all the 18 categories. The hardest one for that will probably be the nonprofit sector, honestly. But for content strategy, let's start with my YouTube banner. My YouTube banner uses the social proof of my best-selling book. It has my cartoon avatar with my silver play button. I'm going to be replacing that with the photo of me with my silver play button, similar to my channel icon here, my profile pic. So what's that about? That's social proof. I'm using social proof in my banner. Now, you don't have to do that, but it can be valuable depending on what niche you're in to demonstrate some kind of social proof. So best-selling author, featured Forbes, Business Insider, Entrepreneur, Black Enterprise, those things might matter to people. We're trying to keep the promise of new videos every week. That's why I'm going to be streaming every week. Silver play button is credibility. So we use those credibility pieces. We use the one line about section to start the beginnings of my about section for my mission. We'll talk about that later. And then what do? We have my new social links. They give us 12 or 14 of these now. And what do? In my case, I point to the pro group because that is my most valuable asset. For some of you, it might be a sponsor. It might be an affiliate. Then what are my channel keywords? My name, the thing I'm associated with, YouTube, podcasting, live streaming, creative entrepreneurship. I've won 2 entrepreneur awards. My business, Awesome Creator Academy, my subject matter, the creator economy, some of the things I help you achieve, full-time YouTuber, growing a YouTube channel, getting more subscribers, monetization, analytics, full-time content creator, UGC creator, working with brands, content strategy, advice, analytics, brand deals, thumbnails. So the things that I can deliver on, the things that I can help you with, I make those associated for YouTube with my channel's keywords. I have a featured trailer that tells my story. So that's important for building a relationship with the audience, establishing not only credibility, but connection. So again, when you want to say, well, focusing on content pillars, think about how I started and think about even at the banner, you start to get a sense of the value proposition for the channel as a viewer. So that could become important to make a statement. So then if we look at my pillars, when we talk about content strategy, well, what is it? I have start here to build a successful online business. I use my most viewed videos in that category to some degree, or the ones I think are the most meaningful. And so I use some of these videos, a lot of them with over 100,000 views, regardless of when I made them, the things that I think are the most valuable for helping someone start an online business. Then I have some of my most recent videos featured here. Then I have start here to grow a YouTube channel. What do? I use the most helpful videos for starting a YouTube channel that I have, usually the ones with the most views, the ones people responded to. Start making money online. I use the videos that people responded to when it comes to making money online. So selling t-shirts, passive income, so on and so forth. So I use that. Start making money with sponsorships and brand deals. I use, again, the most valuable videos that I've done there, usually the most viewed. Start here to get your first 1,000 subscribers. So we start here with this, usually videos that have 100K views. We lead with those. Then we have something that you need as a content creator, how to become a better video editor and edit faster. A lot of you don't have time. You work a full-time job. You have kids. You have, this stuff going on. So what is the most valuable thing I could do to help you with video editing? Teach you video editing basics, teach you the video editing techniques that big YouTubers use, and teach you how to edit faster. And also introduce you to free and cheap software. So that's what these videos are. They get less upfront views, but they tend to get a lot of views over time. I also featured some of the videos I did in collaboration with Adobe on their YouTube channel, partly for credibility and also because they're really helpful. So we have some of those. Again, sometimes they're slow burners and they get less views, but they are very important for creators. Then we have how learn to start here to create content. Then we have the content strategy videos. And then we have videos on podcasting. We're going to be doing a whole series on podcasting. We're going to do a lot more. Then I have my multiple limits. So why would my content pillars be structured this way? And I know this loses some of you because you're like, oh, here he goes. And he's talking about his own channel and stuff like that. Why would these be my content pillars? These are my content pillars in an education channel because they state very clearly what I solve for and what I am good at. And I use as much as I can with regard to credibility, social proof, making these things abundantly clear, making as many titles and thumbnails as I think resonate. I also brand them with color themes. If you haven't noticed, that is extremely valuable. Now, there is an approach to this that isn't for people who do education-based content with regard to content pillars. This might specifically help How To Vids more because she's doing marketing and live streaming. So maybe taking some hints from my content pillars and my strategy and the fact that I do how-to content maybe helps her. For those of you who are entertainers, if you are trying to do something for your audience that's entertainment-based, we can look at my music channel, which is a faceless music channel. You know, my name's not on it, my face isn't on it, and it's all lyricless music. So it's all lo-fi, it's all lyricless music. So if we look at this channel, and we'll just zoom in a little bit more. This is the Zen Buster music channel. And this, I think we have 60 working on 100 royalty-free songs here, or rather copyright-free songs, I should say. I have the, well, technically they're royalty-free because I control the copyright. I just don't, I make sure that no one can ever get striked on them or claimed on them. But however you want to phrase that, royalty-free, I think is the true phrase. Anyhow, the safe from DCMA. Anyway, so content pillars. For this music channel, the value of it became style, but also time in a way, meaning that here are lo-fi compilations that help you relax and sleep. That's a specific value proposition in terms of what music it is for. There would also probably be some that's better for like motivation. There's some that's actually more ASMR style to help with anxiety, right? So a different playlist. This playlist is individual songs, and it says lo-fi beats to chill and create to. But here's the other thing. We base these content pillars on a proposition called time. So these are 1-hour loops that you can relax or study to. And these are 10-hour loops that you can relax, study, or focus to. We're going to have a section probably for ones to help you sleep. And then we have the individual releases for the albums here. So Bamboo Beats, Lo-Fi for Lovers, which was released during Valentine's, Comfy and Cozy Lo-Fi, Lo-Fi and Chill Volume 2, Lo-Fi and Chill Volume 1, then some individual tracks. Obviously, there's individual tracks. We have the Lo-Fi Zodiac. We have all that stuff. So the thing is, there's then these individual playlists. What are they? Tracks of 12. Chill vibes to help you relax. Music for when you're stressed. Chill Lo-Fi beats to put you in a better mood. Morning vibes. So they're organized in a way that says, oh, this is what I want. I can pick and choose. So the content pillars around this strategy for entertainment was about what is the audience member going through in their day. So that means I have a playlist that's more for someone who wants to relax, chill, somebody who wants to focus and study, someone who wants to sleep, somebody who needs some, lower anxiety. So we have some lo-fi ASMR to help with the anxiety side of things. We have some stuff that's really suited to motivating you in the morning. We have some that aesthetically feel really good if you're just feeling a little bit lonely. We have some things that aesthetically look good for that. So that was the strategy. The strategy for entertainment is largely predicated about emotion. And for a music channel, you really want to focus around the feelings and emotions of your audience member. If you're doing a music channel specifically, that also ties not only to the music itself and that vibe, but the aesthetic and what is communicated. And then also time can be a factor too in terms of these sessions, whether it's an hour session, a mixtape, because we have some things that are mixtapes here. We have like some things that are more like 3-hour long things. And again, we have these specific setups. We have 12-hour loops, believe it or not, which again, much more toward like, oh, I want to listen to this all day or I want to sleep. We have Lazy Lo-Fi Saturday. We have the Lo-Fi Zodiac stuff. We have all kinds of things here. So again, a lot of this was based on either the desire for a certain length of time to spend with this or a certain feeling or emotion or vibe or time of day or an aesthetic. So we really focused on the entertainment side. It's about feelings very much more. So it's emotional versus logical. The education side is obviously about value proposition, logic, solving problems, very specific there. And then when you want to do entertainment, that has to be much more broad, much more inclusive, much more variety, let's say. But when you're building out the content pillars, you have to consider what you're solving for. And even on the emotional side, you have to put thought into it, and you have to really care about the audience, and you have to really make sure that it is consolidating the feelings of the audience. And so that's what you would want to accomplish. Again, some of this you take with a grain of salt because, oh, I don't have a music channel. Maybe I have this, maybe I have that on the entertainment side. But if you were doing something else, even if it was like Star Wars, I would tell you this still matters, because then you consolidate the feelings of maybe people are frustrated with the prequels, or the sequels. People are frustrated with the sequels, or they have nostalgia for the prequels in Star Wars. You can consolidate around those feelings and cater to them with your content strategy and your content pillars as well. Or if you want to be inclusive to all Star Wars fans, you could make content pillars and say, Old Republic, High Republic, original trilogy, prequel trilogy, Clone Wars saga, sequel trilogy, Mandoverse. You could literally build your content pillars in a franchise like Star Wars around the era of Star Wars that you're catering to. So it's things like that. If you were doing something and it was more about the dark side of Star Wars, fantastic. You could go and say, here is a content pillar and strategy that's literally all about the Inquisitors. Here is, a content pillar that is a playlist that's all about the ancient Sith Lords. Here's a content pillar that is all about the Cold War era of Star Wars. Here's one that's all about the philosophy of the dark side, and you could go into the beliefs of Darth Treya, Darth Revan, Bane, and the Rule of Two, the philosophies of Palpatine. You could go really deep on the philosophy of the dark side, and you could even do a whole playlist around that. So you'd be doing these content pillars that are like, okay, we could dive deep into these different parts of the Star Wars universe that specifically focus on the villains. And that would be how you think about content pillars. Is it's largely about, here is the variety within my audience's interest, and here is how I reach the most people within that community around things that they are specifically caring about, and let them binge watch as much of that as they want to. And so that's how we think about content pillars. At least that's, again, my philosophy on content pillars, if you're interested in that specifically. Hopefully that was a helpful answer. I know that was a lot. I know that I'm a lot sometimes. Totally Toasty says, I make skits, but I don't think I will reach my money goals from it with 100K plus, or 100K plus a year. So you want to make 100,000 a year, I assume. Should I switch niches? Also, thank you for everything you do. So the thing is, I think that for you doing skits and comedy, it's what you would like to be known for. And I think for you, that, maybe you're a comedian and again, you want that reach, but it's very hard to monetize that. It's not that I think that you should switch niches, because I don't think you should code switch on the audience. You promise them skits and comedy, do skits and comedy, but you need to build out a business plan around monetization. And that's kind of the thing that I help content creators from. But what I would tell you is I would study people who've made money with this in their business plan and figure out what it is. Did they make their money in merch? Did they make their money selling out shows and doing public performances? Did they make their money doing stuff with their audience? Because maybe if you do skits and comedy, maybe the way you make money is you start doing reactions and memes, and you start doing some of that even live, and then you're getting super chats and support from the audience. That could be a whole thing. Maybe you do skits, but maybe you build another channel out, or maybe this is something on the same channel, depending on your strategy. Maybe you also then start a comedy podcast, because if you're doing skits and comedy and you're a comedian, you're a funny guy, then if you're saying, well, I need something that makes money, do a comedy podcast. If you're doing skits and comedy and you're funny, you could do daily reaction videos and you could make a considerable amount of money, because the volume of content and views, even in a low CPM, the sheer volume of views will make up the difference. So that would be what I'd probably tell you in that situation. So, yeah, that's just something to think about. Yeah, how Made to Stick, How to Shoot Video That Doesn't Suck, and The War of Art are perfect books for a lot of you. Absolutely. Yeah, Made to Stick, you got the audiobook? Yeah, it's really good. Right now I'm listening to Alex Hormozy's $100 Million Leads audiobook. It's actually really good. A lot of people underrate Hormozy. and or think, oh, he's another huckster or whatever. No, like his knowledge is very good. It's very detailed. I like him a lot. 30-day reviews. I need to learn what I'm doing wrong with my reviews with reviews for men's grooming and how-to products and everything. So you're doing like things around your facial hair, your beard, your hair care, that sort of thing. Informational content going 9 years, just not growing like I'd like. Well, for one thing, I would analyze the most successful channels in that niche a lot of times. Men's personal development and self-help is a growing niche. It's a much needed audience and everything like that. You might want to change your approach. The big thing I would probably change in your approach would probably be the thumbnails. Like if we were working together, we were doing a channel audit, we'd probably start with looking at, if we look at something like even with the deeper framework. Okay, so your demographic here is men. So it's going to be men. You're hoping that they're men who care about their appearance. Well, I hate to break it to you, men who care about their appearance are going to be the over 25, over 35 crowd. 30, like 30 plus crowd is going to be more of the men who care about their hair care, their facial, their grooming, their so on and so forth, their appearance being a little bit better. With that in mind, then the thumbnails have to speak to those men and those men's interests, desires, wants, and needs, and would have to appeal to them, which may not be the standard YouTuber type of thumbnail. It might actually look much more like an advertorial, which means it might require a high degree of professional photography that's much more suited to what would be in a billboard or a magazine for the thumbnail. And so, primary example of that, I would probably do an extreme close-up, very sharp, very detailed, very well lit professional photo shoot with one half of a man's facial hair like shaved and the other part lathered up as if it's going to be shaved, would like be a really good, with a line split down the middle or something like that, would be a really good attractive thumbnail for something like that. But that's an advanced photo shoot. But right off the bat, that's changing it. Why? Because one, it's setting high expectations in the content, being high value from the very beginning, which is going to be very appealing because these are going to be men who are older, affluent, do not want to waste their time. The other thing is, if you're dealing with older and much more affluent men with these products, you're going to probably not need to make videos about the budget products. You're going to have to look at the high-end products. Now, it's not going to be a huge audience that gets as many views, but it might, because men always aspire to earn more money. So then that aspires to lifestyle. So that's, again, experiences, struggles, expectations, preferences right then and there. And so the thing is, if men can see the value of these high-end products, they'll aspire to save more money to get them and to earn them. And then also, if you do affiliates for this, you may a higher commission by just covering those products versus the cheaper ones. If you are going to do cheaper products, then you do a listicle video, because then that has more broader appeal. And then that's more like 15 budget, hair care items or grooming accessories for men. And then it's something like that. The other thing you could do is you could look at the most sponsored men's care products in YouTube, like Teach Handley, Dr. Squatch, Harry's, Dollar Shaves Club, Manscaped, and then you could do very elaborate, thorough, detailed reviews of all of those products, because they're the most promoted and sponsored products in the YouTube ecosystem, and you could give people the real breakdown on those. That's a strategy that I would use. So, just consider that if you're not growing and get the results you want, it means because there's some kind of disconnect in you not fully understanding some aspect of your audience, whether it's psychologically more appealing to them as a demographic, not really understanding their lived experiences, and then relating and connecting to that at every level in an obvious way, setting expectations, delivering and showing high effort, high value content, knowing their preferences, what they do and don't like, or why they would or wouldn't like something, and then also analyzing the analytics and really helping use that to identify some of their preferences and some of their expectations, or understanding the demographics a little bit better, or even engaging it and and figuring out what they do and don't like and why, and really talking to them about it, or participating in other areas of the community. So again, like on a channel like what you're talking about in terms of, oh, well, what am I doing wrong? You're the kind of person that I would want to do a 30-minute coaching call with. You can find that on my website, awesomecreatoracademy.com. If you want to do coaching with me one-on-one, I have 30-minute calls. I have 90-minute calls. For a lot of you, the 30-minute channel review is all some of you need. 90 minutes is for people who want real deep dives, want me to grill their analytics to death, want me to help them with their business model. That's more for people who might be making a certain type of money. They do the 90-minute calls with me. For a lot of you as content creators, it'd be a 30-minute call. So we have that up on the website. You can check that out. Or you can join the pro group. The pro group is affordable, relatively speaking. And we meet twice a week live in the pro group privately to go over things. And you can get on the live video calls with me in the group. We also chat every day in the private Facebook group. But the reason I bring it up is you really probably need people to look a lot harder at your channel and be honest with you about your channel. And you probably benefit from a channel review yourself. You're a review channel, but you benefit from a review, because I think that there's an angle and a need and a desire for the thing that you do among male viewers. They really do need it. A lot of guys do need to step up, and your content can help them do that. But I think the strategy is probably off. The thumbnails probably need to be the high end of thumbnails, and that's not as easy to do as people think and everything. I've been a professional photographer for a very long time. Like, you'd be surprised how elaborate just the lighting has to be for the type of content we're talking about here. I talk with a female creator that does basically the female equivalent of what you're doing. So the thing is, I understand her strategy and how that works for women. There's an inverse version of that strategy that works for men as well, for the same thing. Her name is Glam Girl Gabby. We did a podcast episode together, and we talked about how she grew her channel to over 100,000 subscribers. Very talented creator. But there are things for the thing that you're talking about that have to be done at a high production level, high aesthetic level. The thumbnail psychology has to be a very specific thumbnail psychology. There's a photography driven aspect to it. There's also a total addressable market issue in terms of the market dynamics of, like, okay, how many men buy these products versus these products, these brands? How much advertising do these brands do? Which means what's their presence, the sponsorship angles. There's a lot of details that go into that. Frosty Lone Wolf, thank you for the $2 super chat. And also thank you for all the support over on Twitter, my friend. Appreciate you. Flight from Reality says, hey, Roberto, when it comes to video topics in a niche, are impressions the key metric? Are impressions YouTube's estimates of the video's potential audience, like the total addressable market size per video? Fantastic question. I love this question. And the answer to that is yes. And I will not just tell you that, I will show you. So what we're going to do here, because I love this question so much. We're going to go into the analytics on a video. I'm going to share my screen here. Share this tab instead. Okay, so I love this question so much. So, Roberto, when it comes to the video topics in a niche, are impressions the key metric? So I want to show you the impressions of basically an 80,000 view video that's currently getting a couple hundred views a day. It was getting more, but it's getting it all algorithm based, meaning that if you look here, my 47% of my views are from the homepage and 30% are from suggested videos. Only 7% are from search, 4% from other features, 3% from channel pages. So like over 70% of the views I'm getting on this video are algorithm driven videos. You look at this here with YouTube. Like, this thing is killing it. It's got 1 million impressions. So an impression is any time the thumbnail shows up for more than a second on a screen. So take impressions with a grain of salt, by the way, because many of you probably have seen the same video 8 times before you decide to click on it. So that is a thing. So take that with a grain of salt. And this video has almost 80,000 views. For some of you, that may not feel like a lot, but this is what 80,000 views is worth on my channel, which means if I was a gaming channel, 80,000 views is worth like maybe $100, maybe 100, 180. If you're a gaming channel, how much is 80,000 views worth on your channel? Is it 80 bucks? Is it $100? Let us know in the chat. Let us know in the live stream. But 80,000 views is worth almost $500 for me. 100,000 views is worth $500 to $1,000 for me, depending. Because this was not even a high CPM video for me. But let's go to impressions to really answer your question. So the thing about this is the impressions and the click-through rate have to be taken into consideration by not just as a whole, because they're averages of the traffic source. So what you really want to do is you want to go into advanced analytics. And this is why we do analytics deep dives on this channel. We've done 3 hours just pouring over YouTube analytics and explaining it on this channel multiple times. And so this is why I say that to beat the algorithm, what you really have to focus on is understanding your audience psychology, because it's a circumventing of the algorithm if you just go to user behavior, because all the algorithm does is respond to user behavior. So the thing is, why are we trying to cater to the algorithm instead of cater to our audience? We can just bypass all of that. And I'll tell you some direct real talk about like beating the quote unquote algorithm by thinking about your audience. And it's going to sound so obvious when I say it, but let's look at this. Browse features. Browse features is the YouTube homepage. So here's the thing. We got the most impressions. We got the most impressions from the browse features. And if we look at the impression to click-through rate, we don't need, here's the thing. We don't need the watch time hours, so we're going to hide that just to make this easier to see. Okay, so here's what we got. We got 63,000 views from 1 million impressions. That's not bad. And that gave us a 4.6% click-through rate there. Now on YouTube search, we got much less impressions on YouTube search. We only got 30,000 impressions. We got a 5% click-through rate there. When you see your impression to click-through rate, you know what it is? It's the average. It's not the actual click-through rate. It's the average of all your different traffic sources. So what you want to do is you want to analyze your traffic sources. And so what we look at here is we measure these traffic sources, and we also look at, to a degree, the average view duration and start to realize, oh, there are some traffic sources that are more valuable than others in terms of keeping people watching. So that's helpful to know. Suggested videos did better on average view duration than browse features, but browse features did better on percentage click-through rate and on overall impressions and reach. And why? Because the YouTube homepage is where most people click on videos. They don't click on most videos from suggested. They don't click on most videos from search. It's the YouTube homepage. So that's our best opportunity. And that usually most of the time is what surfaces the most impressions for us. And you can see that on a video that is on its way to like 100,000 views, hopefully by the end of the year. So that might be helpful for you guys, you know, in terms of like understanding some of this. But I'm going to show you something with regard to, we'll use a live stream. I think, is this one? What's the views on this one? We'll use this live stream here, which has a different outcome. This live stream, people who watched from the homepage were not the primary viewers for this live stream. Because it's a live stream, and I think this is different for live streams, it's suggested videos and it gets ramped up there. And look at the difference in the average view duration and look at the impressions. Here's the thing though, the click-through rate is 0.5%. Better click-through rate isn't as meaningful as we always think it is, because every single other traffic source has a better click-through rate, but this one has more impressions, is responsible for more views, and resulted in the highest average view duration. This is why I believe that average view duration and retention matter more than click-through rate, and I don't think it's even close. I do not think that click-through rate matters as much as big YouTubers say, depending on what content we're talking about. I can make an argument on it for entertainment channels, but maybe for other content, maybe not so much. Average view duration and retention, to me, seem to be the thing that boost impressions the most. I believe that YouTube cares about who your audience is and the total addressable market for that audience. I believe that they care about the topic interest affinity, the audience interest affinity. Why do I say that? Because of Google white papers that I read that are published on their blogs and on their website, if you look deep enough. So it's weird stuff like that. And so I believe for sure. Plus, they tell you in the YouTube analytics, when you hover over the icons for the analytics, it tells you that, hey, the more watch time and average view duration and retention your videos get, the more impressions and reach that they get. So I believe that that does it. And then if you get more impressions and reach, you can have a lower click-through rate, but more impressions is just more opportunity. So the thing is, the ability to garner impressions by having a better performing video, which is why hooks matter, retention matters, format matters, length of video matters, all those things to some degree a little bit when you publish it for that initial bump in performance and velocity. Understanding what the audience cares about, it dictates the performance. That's why the audience avatar matters, because that dictates the average view duration and the retention rate, and then that boosts the performance, which boosts the reach, and then that reach gives you more opportunities to where even if you get a crappy click-through rate, 0.6% of almost 1 million impressions is better than 3% of 10,000 impressions and it's not close, or 2% of 60,000 impressions and it's not close. So you see what I'm getting at, and you can see the numbers. You can't make this up. You can't tell me that you don't see a correlation. Okay, so it is what it is. And then in regard to this video, you know, it's the same. It's a similar thing that more impressions will theoretically be better. Now, again, this one did not perform nearly as well in the average view duration for that. And there you have it, you know, so that's a thing. And you can you can see how this tracks. If we go to this one on strategy, again, it didn't do as well with average view duration, and that's indicative of the views. It needed to do much better in terms of the average view duration to get popped off for what it was as a video. And that's the difference between this not getting the same views as those other live streams for getting that boost. So, yeah, that's something that I wanted to show you to be aware of, and to just kind of like make a point about overall video performance with these things and show you the difference. And then again, if I go back to that video that has like nearly 80,000 views now, again, I would tell you that I generally tend to believe that the weighting for formats is different. Shorts is different. Live streams is different. Recorded videos is different. But I believe much strongly more in the average view duration and retention percentage thesis. I think it shifts with format, how heavily it's weighted, and with the length of the overall video, how heavily it's weighted. But it also has to take into consideration how big is the audience for that type of video. And again, there's not viral views in the creator help niche, to be honest. There's not viral views in that unless there's a breaking news update. And even then, no matter, even if a channel in a creator help niche has 1 million subscribers, Colin and Samir would be an exception because they're doing interviews with famous creators. Those famous creators are a topic that has a bigger market cap because they don't interview people who don't have 1 million subscribers and get tens of millions of views a month. So different market cap for that versus the information itself. The person is a topic of interest. The most broad audience appeal will always be people, places, current events, and things. People, places, current events, and things. We all know this. This is known. People, places, current events, and things. So that's the total addressable market for most people, is revolving around lowest common denominator. Lowest common denominator is people, places, current events, and things, always. Okay? That's why news, commentary, gossip always does well. Controversy, that's politics. That's why that does well. Okay? That's even why dating podcasts are killing it right now. It's exactly those things, because it's always talking about current events, people, places, and things. And to a degree, news is almost all of those things. Dating is almost all of those things. And then beyond that, you know what else kills it? Product reviews. If you're doing consumer electronics and tech, it's, you know, tech season, it's Apple season, it's tech September, Tech October, that kind of thing. So you can see my point, and you can see this across YouTube that works a lot. Aside from spectacle, storytelling, entertainment, the Arax, Mr. Beast, Ryan Trahan, the big three. Aside from that, if you look into actual verticals of YouTube, what works is people, places, current events, and things. All that being said, that total addressable market cap for impressions matters. And then after that, there's performance metrics, and you could look to click-through rate a bit. I'm not saying click-through rate doesn't matter as much. I'm saying that I genuinely believe that for getting reach, that the performance metrics of average view duration and percentage of video watched and the 30-second drop-off rate at the beginning, the completion rate at the end, I believe that matters so much more than people would ever think. And we have data to suggest that that's probably true. Someone said Zenbuster is a failed experiment. No, it's not a failed experiment. I just wasn't consistent with it, and I wasn't doing as many uploads because I was doing the things that make me money instead. Zenbuster is not a failed YouTube channel by a stretch of imagination, and I'll show you, because I mean, I think that's like kind of a, I'm just going to say it. If you think that Zenbuster is a failed experiment, that's a brain dead take, and it's a ridiculous brain dead take that doesn't jive with the math, because I'll show you the math. See, the math when you go to Zenbuster Music, because I don't even post this anymore. I haven't posted in an absurdly long time. But here's the math on it. If we look at the videos themselves and we look at the views, Zenbuster Music as a channel has less than 2,000 subscribers. Let's look at what the most popular videos on that channel were, shall we? With less than 2,000 subscribers, the most popular video on that channel, 14,000 views. Next most popular on the channel, over 2,000 views. And again, I haven't posted this in forever. Next after that, 1.7, 1.3. So again, just looking at the views on a less than 2,000 subscribed channel, 2,000 subscribed channels, everything, a good amount of views on videos for 2,000 subscribed channels would be like 100, 150 views, to be honest with you. Average 2,000 subscriber YouTuber struggles to get 100 views. So 150 to 250 views would be good. We are now like 20 videos deep scrolling through this channel, and we're still getting views over 500 on a less than 2,000 subscribed channel. And we're like 30 videos deep into it now. And I have not been posting. I have not been upkeeping. And this channel was not optimized to be the most viral channel in the world, honestly. So, and then most of the content here is over an hour long. And it's the most viewed stuff, which means it's a video, it's a channel that has no personality behind it, no language behind it, no no lyrics behind it, is all original music that has no social proof, is not covers or remixes of franchise, which would be the easy hack. It's all original music. And it requires an hour commitment in many cases or more, and is getting hundreds of views without treading on a franchise or copyrighted IP material like Pokemon or Star Wars or Zelda to boost it up. So to say it's a failed experiment, and I know I'm going in or I'm sounding defensive, it is the most juvenile, brain dead, brainlet take that I could possibly think of when we are more than 50 videos deep and not even below a 10% view to subscriber ratio, as if view to subscriber ratios actually mattered. On a less than 2,000 subscribed channel, using all original IP and content with only one song ever that was like a, using a franchise and IP just because I love Squid Games. And I had someone produce a remix for me of Pink Soldiers. But all of our original music outperforms it, and it's a franchise. All the original music outperforms it. And so, yeah, failed experiment, my ass. Sorry. So again, it's a ridiculous take. It's a ridiculous brain dead take to even suggest that. And then in terms of, these 12-hour live broadcasts, they did pretty well. So there you go. So saying that it was a failed experiment. By what measure, by what metric, and everything like that? The overwhelming majority of channels never get to 1,000 subscribers. This one did it with completely original music and original IP with 124 videos, did not use cover songs to make itself and boost itself up off of reputation, didn't have to tread off the back of anyone's reputation. And I have the data, by the way, that shows you that this was not from me boosting it with my main YouTube channel. This was organic, algorithmic based traffic, and the people who have been around know that because I've shown the analytics. You can't call it a failed experiment. Also, it's really easy to say that kind of crap when you have an anonymous channel, and this is why I don't take most anon accounts seriously. But I wanted to use that as a teachable moment, and this is why internet critics are also essentially worthless because, again, they don't even make data-driven commentary when they have a criticism. If you're going to have a criticism, back it up with numbers, my friend. Because if I come for you, I'll come with numbers. I will come with data. Facts don't care about your feelings. I will be a savage. I will sit there and I will bury you under the bloody analytics. And I will sit there and I will eviscerate you with facts, reason, logic, and a mountain of research and everything like that. I will bleed you with the paperwork alone. Like a G. Yeah. So let's see. There's a lot of content out there that is massively underrated content, and I think a lot of it is based on very superficial stuff. You'd be surprised how much just topic, title, thumbnail, and timing disqualifies a video. And it's really unfortunate that like some people make really great content, but the packaging is just a little bit off. I changed a video once and it went from struggling to 100,000 views in 2 weeks because I changed the bloody thumbnail. I changed the thumbnail and then it went from struggle bus to taken off because I changed the bloody thumbnail. It's so superficial. The quality of a video, as important as the quality of a video is, the packaging is much more important. The packaging ends up being much more important because you just cannot get a click if you do not have the right packaging. So for the gaming channel stuff, Eric was saying that the NFL stuff. Okay, so sports content, sports gaming has a $8 to $12 CPM. Sports gaming is the most lucrative gaming CPM. So I could see how NFL would absolutely boost your CPMs for sure. Tam's ASMR, thank you very much. Appreciate you. Let's see. Revenue for every 1K in gaming is close to $3. Yeah, that's what I see generally with a lot of the content creators I work with in gaming. I work with a lot of mobile gaming creators with Supercell, doing Clash Royale and stuff like that, and Clash of Clans, Brawl Stars, that sort of thing. So I've seen that. Z says, Roberto, I have a question about the stylized, polished videos and ed videos to cater to an audience. How do I get a similar look to Lavender, the soft glow, color graded look? Part of that is low contrast. So for one thing, she uses a low contrast aesthetic. She also uses filters that deal much more in some of those pastels. She also does soft focus, so she uses shallow depth of field. I believe she shoots everything at f1.4 possibly, or f1.8 at a minimum. So that would make a big difference. I tend to shoot at f4 and f2.8. Part of the reason is also with me wearing hats, I need a greater depth of field for focus. So I tend to do that. Also, I use brighter lights. Some of it's due to my skin tones. So I do things like that. So yeah, there's things. And so aesthetics are something that do matter. And you can like, in terms of going into aesthetics, primary example would be changing things like the color hues with this light, for example. So, I like that better anyway, but I might want to turn down the intensity of that. So go to intensity and turn that down by a lot. And I'll change the angle, and then boom. That's a nicer aesthetic right there. So again, aesthetics are something that matter. And the thing is, I got a nicer aesthetic by just changing my light like that. And so the thing is, some people will use it and they'll change things like their lighting. You can also change things like aperture, for example, or even the type of camera that they're using. Primary example is if I change the aperture and I go super wide on this, this is much brighter, but also my background blurs out a lot more. If I change the aperture to this, it's more flattering to my skin tones, a little bit more color accurate, so on and so forth. The light positioning, whether I move it more to the side, more of a backlighting, can make a difference in how it presents, how it looks, and everything. Intensity, I still think this is too intense possibly, so I'll just angle it differently and angle it more away from myself, so then it's bouncing. And so you do things like that. You can bounce light. So with Lavender, a lot of it is lens choices. Her overall palette is designed in a very specific way. It's also lack of contrast, and then you might need to look at some specific LUTs as well. Yes, YouTube does want higher view duration and better retention. Absolutely, it does. Yep. Also, if you guys could do a favor, do hit the like button if you're watching the video. If you're enjoying this, if you're getting value out of it, please hit the like button. It definitely helps, and I do appreciate it. Alicia says, I'm great here, learning to grow my channel. I took a break, but I'm also ready to get back on my grind. Yeah. No, we all got to get back on that grind. That's why I'm going to be streaming 2 to 3 times a week, y'all. You guys can see that I've scheduled some live streams for you. I'm going to be grinding at this 2 to 3 times a week. We've got some great streams lined up for you here in the coming weeks. In fact, let's see here. What do we got lined up for you? We've got coming up. We're doing finding your niche and your audience right now. We're going to talk a little bit more, but we're going to have some discussion about that. We're going to go more into the deeper framework again. I'm going to be talking about how to make money as a small YouTuber. That's going to be on the 25th. On the 22nd, growing a successful channel from 0 to 100K. We're going to go deep into that. We're going to be doing next couple of days, Monday, I think Monday, we're going to be doing how to start a YouTube channel in 2023, everything you need to know. So that's going to be like the ultimate beginner's guide. I'm really looking forward to that. So yeah, so back on my own grind here, So again, I feel like things like the deeper framework really help with narrowing down your audience avatar. And I think it can be extremely useful to just kind of understand all of these things. Give me 1 second here. I actually have some notes on this that I think could be extremely helpful. Because we have, I have kind of like a, what do you call it? I have some thoughts around a series of like very deep questions that I feel would help you better understand building an audience avatar. I'm just actually looking for where I put those questions, because I think that if you think about it from that standpoint of what is it that would allow me to truly understand this group of people, what are the most important things to ask and to understand and to know. I know I have that information here somewhere. I'm just looking for where I put it. Maybe it was part of our clarity guide, because we have a clarity framework. Oh, maybe I could share the clarity framework with you guys. Maybe the clarity framework would be good. Do we have that presentation lined up? We have the vibe framework here. We have that. We have... I think we have the clarity. I think we have that. Hang on. No, we can upload it though. I think this is it. Give me a second. Is this the one? Yep, this is the one. Okay, so yeah, the clarity framework. This is something we teach in the Awesome Creator Academy Pro group. This is something the members get access to, and we do deep dives and trainings on this. So with the clarity framework, this is to help you with your brand strategy and also with your own value proposition, but it also helps with understanding your audience avatar quite a bit, but also just your own situation. So like, what are your core values? Your audience is going to gravitate to you because you have shared values. Like if you're a gamer and everything, there's a whole community for Christian gamers and that family friendly gamers. There's a whole, so that could be around core values specifically, right? That is an example. There are a lot of people who maybe their core values are they're vegan. And so as a cooking channel, they're a vegan cooking channel and there's certain things they will and won't do and there's certain products they will and won't use, right? So core values actually matter a lot when it comes to resonating with an audience and building that audience avatar. You have to care about and value the same things as people. And then there's the aesthetic considerations. And another creator here brought up Lavender, a big fan of hers. I love what Aline has done. So the look and feel, the aesthetic. The aesthetic is the attractiveness. That could really attract people or detract people if it's not correct. Really understand the audience. There's also reputation. That's why we do things that convey social proof. That's why in my channel banner, I have all my social proof. That's reputation. I've earned my reputation. I'll use it. Then there's individuality. Individuality is how you stand out. Then there are things you do that signal trust and that you do to build trust. And then there's what the audience is going to get out of it. What's the audience going to get out of it? What's the yield? And so we literally spell the word clarity when we do that, right? So again, core values. What are the principles and beliefs that I want my brand to embody? What do these values do to align with the content I create? How can I communicate these values to my audience? What audience is aligned with my core values and my purpose? Really important for you to think about. You got to think about that. Why wouldn't you think about that? This isn't as shallow as, oh, I just want to make goofy videos on the internet and I want attention. Look at me. That's narcissistic. That's stupid. You need to actually be thoughtful about this. Take it seriously. So then look and feel. What elements, colors, typography, and imagery would best represent my brand's personality? Dress to impress. Look the part. Aesthetics matter. Aesthetics matter. Dress the part. And that includes dressing up your thumbnails the part, dressing up the banner the part, the videos, the editing, the lights, the production, all of it. So the look and feel matters. It does. The editing style, all of that. It's a consideration. It is something that people will recognize and will gravitate to, or it'll push them away. So it does matter. How can I ensure consistency in my visual design? This is important. Apple does it for a reason. As my visual design differentiate me at a glance from the other creators in my niche? Making something that lets you visually stand out and be notable could matter and could be important. You know, I have a built-in advantage and I'm the main one who looks like me in my niche. So I can stand out pretty easily. Let's see. What makes my brand recognizable at a glance? That could be graphics, fonts, visual style. For a lot of creators now, it's the photography and it's the style of the action, the photography. Look at the Sidemen. The Sidemen are killing it. Mr. Beast, Brian Trahan. It's photography-driven thumbnails. Same thing for Eric. It's photography-driven thumbnails. They're killing it in YouTube. That is hard to duplicate, by the way. So that's why, again, it's becoming very much about that. Now, the layouts and stuff like that in the thumbnail templates, that can help you with it. But then when you use really good photography, that's the unique part that takes it to the next level. If you're like, oh, if everybody uses the same thumbnail templates that you sell, Roberto, nobody's stuff will stand out. It's like, no, it's that the parts of the thumbnail that you're going to change, meaning your color schemes, to match your aesthetic and your brand, and then swapping out the custom photography is what will make it stand out. My templates will just mean that people can actually read the damn font and can read the bloody thumbnail and understand what the video is about, and that the colors don't clash too badly in many cases, and so on and so forth. And so if you do good photography, that's what'll be unique. The photography will be unique. So that's the important part. A lot of you, that just comes down to you need someone to help you by holding a camera. Then, what would make my editing style unique and recognizable? This is where a lot of you will need to learn things like the motion graphics. You will need to learn some of these other things. You'll need to learn color grading, color correction, sound design, and so forth. Then the audience. Who's my target age, demographic, where their interest, where is their location, etc. That's going to dictate a lot of things. What type of content does my audience already enjoy? That's who you're going to research, and you're going to do your competitor analysis. How do I engage with my audience better to understand their needs and preferences? This is where the feedback loop comes in. And then what are my audience's challenges and struggles? By the way, if you don't already have an audience, but you know who your desired audience is, go, Roberto, that's great. If you already have an audience, that's why you can analyze this. No, you go to the communities that your audience already participates in. You go to the other channels your audience already participates in. You read the comments. You be part of that community. You ask questions. You go to the Twitter spaces they participate in. You go to the Reddit communities they're in. You join the Discord servers that they're in. They're like, well, I don't know that stuff. We'll figure it out. Do the bloody research, okay? Go back to school in a way in your head and say, I have to research my audience. They're something I take seriously. I'm going to have to do the book report. I'm going to have to write a book report on my audience. In fact, every single one of you, you got an assignment for Professor Roberto. I want a 2-page report from everybody. And by 2-page, I mean just a long tweet. I want a long tweet for everybody, really diving deep into your audience avatar and describing who that person is, what their demographics are, what 3 creators they already watch, what stands out in terms of something that they're looking for from the content creators that they enjoy the most, something about their preferences. I want everyone to have on my desk for Monday morning, and by that I mean Twitter, as my desk. I want everybody to give Professor Roberto a detailed report on your audience avatar, and it's due Monday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Do not be late, or I will dock you on your grade. That is your assignment. I want to report on your audience. I want you to give me a detailed report on your audience at me in Twitter. I want a derailed report Monday morning on my desk. Yeah. What would my audience like to see change in their life or in the world? You want to think about these things. Reputation. What do I want to be known for in my niche? How does my content reflect what I want to be known for? How can I enhance my reputation through my content and interactions with my audience? What type of content am I making? And what are my content buckets or my content pillars? How can I make 100 videos that serves my audience and aligns with my core values? See? That's really important. That's going to inform your strategy. Individuality. What makes my content unique compared to the other creators in my niche? What can I leverage in terms of my unique attributes to provide value for my audience? How can I communicate my unique value proposition to my audience? What are the 3 things that make me stand out? And are they truly different than my competitors? Excuse me. And then trust. What promises or commitments have I made to my audience? How can I ensure that I'm consistent on delivering on these promises? How can I build and maintain trust with my audience? What would lose the trust of my audience? What protects my community and makes them feel safe? Answering these questions is a very healthy place to start when it comes to when we say understand your audience, and that will be what beats the YouTube algorithm. Let's think about that for a second, shall we? Core values qualify or disqualify an audience. Someone who objects to your core values is not going to be a fan of yours, is not going to subscribe, is not going to share your channel, is not going to give you watch time and everything like that. That's just how it is. Unless they're hate watching you, and then they're going to, and that's not going to be great. So that's important, okay? Look and feel. Attractiveness visually matters. We're superficial. We're humans. We judge a book by their cover. So that matters. Step your game up in terms of how you present visually If you value your viewers, command their respect and their attention by stepping up your aesthetics. Okay. Understand your audience and understand what they care about and understand who they are and why they are. Protect your reputation. Be unique and stand out versus just trying to fit in. Understand the competitive landscape and do something to differentiate yourself. Do what it takes to build trust with people, and then deliver on your promises, whether that's in the title of a video, a thumbnail, whether it's in your upload schedule. Try to keep your promises and be consistent. So like all of that would matter. It doesn't matter how many impressions YouTube gives you if you don't do these things. If YouTube could give you 1 billion impressions, and if your thumbnail is bad, just like being a poorly dressed person, it wouldn't matter how many people pass you on the street. Think about it. It wouldn't matter how many shots you shoot if you look like a bum. So if your thumbnails look poorly packaged and they look like a bum, then they're not going to click no matter how much YouTube pushes you. YouTube cannot push something that looks objectively bad onto people and it gets you anywhere. YouTube can give you 1 billion impressions and you won't get any further because it's just turning people off and turning them away from you. So you have to stop thinking about the algorithm. You have to start thinking about dressing to impress with regard to that. Okay. So that's one thing. Then in terms of core values, it doesn't matter how aggressively YouTube pushes a video that is completely antithetic to somebody's beliefs and values or what they desire. If I'm allergic to strawberry shortcake, no amount of YouTube if I'm allergic to strawberries, no amount of YouTube pushing a strawberry shortcake recipe video in my face 1 million times makes me click on that video if I'm allergic to strawberries. It doesn't work. Why am I going to watch something if it's going to put me into anaphylactic shock if I were to eat it? It doesn't make sense for me to watch that video. So I'm not going to. It doesn't matter how much YouTube pushes it. That's why the algorithm doesn't matter the way you think it does. Someone cannot click on a video they're disqualified from watching. And someone can't watch a video that alienates them in the title or the thumbnail in some way or is unattractive and disqualifying for that reason. Okay? And it's also hard. No matter how hard you push a video, if you push it to people who are not the target audience, it's not going to matter. So again, you're thinking about the algorithm when what you really need to think about is you need to think about clarity. You need to think about clarity and you need to go deeper with your audience. You need to desperately, deeply, madly care about your audience. And you need to get this clarity right because that's what really matters, not the arbitrary algorithm. No amount of push is going to save you. You have a bad reputation. No amount of push is going to save you. Okay? Being too generic, no amount of push is going to save you. They'll pick you're not standing out. They'll pick the person that's content looks more attractive. They'll pick the content that matches their core values more. They'll pick someone who stands out more. You're blending into the crowd. You're nothing special. That's why you can't do low effort content. You need to stand out. You need to do high effort content. So that matters. You need to build a reputation. You need some social proof. You need something that is going to make a difference and move the needle with people. And then if you're not consistent in delivering on what you promised, that's going to really hurt you with the audience overall. And you have to be somebody that the audience trusts when they watch a video, or that's going to really hurt you in performance and retention. So the thing is, you're so worried about the algorithm instead of worrying about this clarity and worry about going deeper with your audience. And so that would be the difference. And this is the kind of thing that we go over with our members, and why I am so adamant about the Awesome Creator Academy Pro group is because we're able to talk with multiple creators about this. They're able to get multiple perspectives from the other members, and we're able to do these deep dives and things like that. So I wanted to give you guys a taste of that and help you understand that this sort of thing, even with this free content, just thinking about this even a little bit could drastically improve your content because it gives you a path for improvement. It gives you something that is actionable to do, and researching and writing down information about your audience, prospecting them and really surveying them and getting deeper on that and really thinking about why they want certain things and why they watch some things and not others, why they clicked on this video and not that video. It all matters and is important. And these things also affect you in the real world. And that's why the fundamentals are so important, because it does affect you in the real world to take these same strategies to mind and to heart. Thank you, Gina, so much. Roberto takes his time to go over this valuable information. He is true value. I try. Yep, Vid Summit is just 2 weeks away. Cannot wait. How long did it take to get that many subscribers? To get to almost 2,000 subscribers, the problem with it is you don't want to measure it in days, weeks, or months and everything. I know you like to do that. It's really about how many videos you make. Thing is, if I had made more videos in a shorter period of time, it would have grown bigger and would have grown faster. It was a problem of consistency more than anything. So you really want to think about how many videos you're making. It's never about, oh, I've been doing this for 5 years. It's about how many videos did you make? Remember, I grew to 100,000 subscribers in 3 years. And I was like, oh, wow, did you go viral? Did you? No, I just made 800 videos in 3 years. How did I grow to 100,000 subscribers? I made 800 videos in 3 years, and I made all search-friendly how-to content for tutorials that had a high market cap because I focused on what? I focused on camera gear that was budget camera gear because I was broke at the time. I was a broke boy at the time. I was a little brokey, so I had budget camera gear that was like stuff under $500, and I made videos about it. I was adding on $500 laptop. I made cheap laptop reviews because it's all I could afford to do. And so I made budget gear videos for people who are trying to build the skills of being a creator in the world. So that was photography, video production, video editing. So it was a lot of Adobe tutorials as well. And it was also some stuff on some free software. And so I was making the best content I could at the time, but the total addressable market cap was high because also there was going to be new people in the market every year. It was evergreen content, search-friendly content with a high market cap and at a higher quality than some of the tutorial content at the time. And it was budget friendly. So I used those things uniquely. So like what I do in terms of this, when I was growing from 0 to 100,000 subscribers, what I do, the demographic of the audience was creative people who are trying to be creators or creative professionals. So I knew my demographic. And who is that? That's people who are usually post-college. So people in their mid-20s, early 30s who have some money to spend, have at least couple $100 they can spend on things, could at least buy some software or something like that or some hardware, but on a budget. So I took demographics, preferences, expectations, experiences into account and said, okay, this is people's budgets. This is people's scenario. I also knew it was a growing market because I knew more people, like cameras were becoming cheaper. More people will buy cameras and camera gear. More people will become creators, camera and camera gear. Oh, graphic design, photography, and video production, video editing was becoming a favorite side hustle of people back then. This is in 2013 to 2016. So I knew, okay, that's a rising tide. So I came up on a rising tide. I picked my demographic carefully of being affluent, older, professional individuals who would be more impressed with good information than super fancy editing. So that allowed me to keep the videos simple, straight to the point, information-based, accurate, and budget friendly. So that was the whole thesis of that channel in those 3 years. Okay. And that they're searching for specific information. So it didn't matter if I got views right away. I knew the views would come in because it's evergreen. I knew they would just trickle in. I knew search was my ally because I was only making search content. That was my ally. So that was my goal. So there was no viral videos for me for those 3 years. It was just making 800 videos and just making all this content, making it search friendly, making it in a growing vertical of professionals that had money. Relative money, meaning, again, the money that someone who's broke in their 20s has is better than a broke teenager. That's the comparison here. Post-college person. So some disposable income, even if it's not a lot. That's why it was, everything you can buy that's under $600, basically. So I was doing that and free software and cheap software and so on and so forth, plus the Adobe stuff. And the Adobe stuff made sense because Adobe is the biggest creative company. So I was like, okay, it has millions of users that speak English. I'll be fine. There's millions of people who speak English. I can get 20,000 views on a tutorial. I can get 100,000 views on a tutorial. I knew that. So over time, 2 years, 3 years, blah, blah, blah. So I knew that that would work because I also was the consumer. So I understood the audience. I was the avatar. I was the audience. So I'm like, okay, I was 28 at the time. I'm like, okay, 5 years ago, what would have I watched 5 years ago as someone who was like less experienced than I am now? Okay, what would I have watched 10 years ago as an absolute beginner when I was in college? Okay, bet. So I used that knowledge of what would I do 5 years, 10 years earlier in my lifespan at 28? What would I do at 22? What would I do at 18? What would I do at 21? Like I used that to my advantage, made content to help those people. And then I made stuff for people my own age that might be a little further behind me, So there's that, or people older than me that are new. So I kept that in mind as well. And then that just kept happening. And so I did that for 3 years. I made nearly daily content. I did 800 videos in 3 years. I knew the demographic. I knew that it was growing. I knew what the experience of living that content was. I knew what the expectations was. I knew what the preferences were. And I replied to every single comment for while I was growing to 100 subscribers. I would not let a comment not go replied to. So that was the engagement part. And then what I do, I started to look at my analytics, started to pivot and make changes if something was doing better than others. I wish I had more ruthlessly done that. If I had more ruthlessly done that, I would have gone bigger, faster. And then that's how I gained 100,000 subscribers a year for every year after 2016, right up until about the end of 2018. Then I moved. And then after that, we had the pandemic. The pandemic was what hurt my growth because I was still growing by about 100K a year after 2016, right up until roughly about the pandemic. Then 75% less uploads, so 75% less growth. So instead of growing by 100,000 a year, I went to growing by 30,000 a year during the pandemic because I cut the uploads down by 75%. So the growth also got cut down by 75%. And that's why we're about to hit 600,000 subscribers now instead of having done it already. So like that's kind of a real life case study for the Deeper framework, how I used it to get to 100,000 subscribers. When you think about the Clarity framework, you can look at how I used that too. What I used the core values. And so transparency, trust, and ultimately, what was it? Transparency, trust, accuracy was kind of the thing I was going for at the time. I have some other acronym for it somewhere. It was something like accessibility, authenticity, and authority. It was something to that degree, right? Look and feel aesthetic. I used my background in graphic design and photography to my advantage for my aesthetics. I knew the core audience because I was part of the core audience. I used building up my reputation. I used any social proof I had, which was very little at the time. I didn't have that many awards, but I had my background and I had my results as I was doing it in real time. So I used building in public to my advantage back then until I had more social proof and credibility. I did use my portfolio. That helped. I did use the fact that I'd worked at an ad agency and that I'd worked as an in-house graphic designer and that I had a photo portfolio and stuff like that. So that helped. Eventually then the reputation of the work itself as I was building in public helped. Individuality, I didn't start growing that much until I started putting more of my personality into my videos, if I'm being honest. That helped a lot. I did everything I could to build a relationship with my audience by engaging with them, building that trust. And then I made sure that they were getting value from any video that I made. So that was where yield came in. So I actually applied the Deeper framework and the Clarity framework, and it was the mindset that took me from 0 to 100,000 subscribers. What I've done now is I took that mindset and I took those thought process and those systems and I package that and I teach people around those things now, but then I cater it to them. Then I take everything that I learn from working with literally hundreds of creators over the last these years, both in public with you and in private with my clients. And then I just keep improving on the products and systems that we build. So like, that's how I think you get a better sense of my mindset. It's literally document, test, analyze the data, package up the results, try to explain it and articulate it in a simplistic way, build systems around it, scale that, build products around it, scale that. That's kind of the trajectory that we're going to now. Is I've done the work over the decades, like being nearly 40 now, I'm at 39. I've been working on myself for like all these years. I've been an entrepreneur for over a decade now. I'm trying to now move to where I've done the work, I've done the services, I've worked with the clients, I've worked with hundreds of creators, I've analyzed thousands of channels at this point. How do we reach more people and help more people become full-time content creators? How can we package the information and how can we scale that into products and services that make sense? So that's what I'm doing now. But getting 100,000 subscribers was not the hardest thing to do. It's everything else. It was learning everything else that was the hardest thing to do. It was learning the technical aspects of multicam live streaming. That was more challenging. Learning the logistics around brand deals, negotiating UGC content. That was much more intensive. Learning to develop a membership website from scratch, even using Kajabi, that was much more intensive than getting to 100,000 subscribers. Growing an email list to 10,000 people was harder than growing 1,000 subscribers in YouTube, honestly. And I'm not saying it's not difficult, it's not challenging. It's that I understand it because I understand systems. Could I do it if I was an entertainment channel? In the same amount of time, maybe not, but maybe. Because the type of entertainment channel I would do would have the same logistics around it as the education content that I would do, because I would have done Star Wars. And because I would have done Star Wars, think about it. The timing for when I would have done Star Wars would have been as we're getting all this new Star Wars content. And I've helped Star Wars creators grow, like Star Wars Explained, for example. So I know a trajectory where, in theory, could I have gotten this far if I did entertainment content instead of leaning into education and teaching people? It's a different business model. I don't know if it makes more or less money depending on how I would do it, because with leaning into someone else's intellectual property, there are limitations you get with copyright and things like that. But I would probably be as big of a creator, if not bigger, because Star Wars has a bigger market cap than teaching being a content creator does. Less people want to be a content creator than people who watch Star Wars all the time. So there's just an infinite amount of equal material and a bigger market cap to address. And there's roughly, in theory, for the way I would approach it, as little competition for the way I would do it. So you have to choose a niche that plays to your strengths, honestly. And so I choose things that play to my strengths. And I choose something where I know and understand the audience. And the things I know is I love content creation. I love photography, video, and graphic design. I love talking to people, and I love tech very much so. So I always know that, okay, I did tech content. I did product reviews. I got tons of videos on product reviews around camera gear. I know that that's a pathway that exists. That's not teaching YouTube. I know that that's evergreen, and that lasts forever, like, because people always buy camera gear. And the thing is, the older you get, it doesn't hurt you to get older in the camera and photography niche. It gets better for you because you're the wise old master at that point. You're the Jedi master at that point. Star Wars fandom, you can't really age out of the Star Wars fandom. So if you went entertainment there, like playing to strengths, that would work for me. Nerd content, you can do nerd content forever. So, it's a whole thing. How would you suggest to improve the Zenbuster channel? Actually, that's easy. The Zenbuster channel is actually easy to improve because I have all the data I need from the videos, to be honest with you, to improve that channel. The biggest fault of the Zenbuster channel is only predicated on one thing. One thing. Ironically, it's the thing that I always talk about. The one thing I'd have to do that would grow the Zenbuster channel significantly is just literally, for what it is, post videos every day. All I would have to do is post videos every day. And specifically, if I post compilation videos that are predicated on the best performing videos, all I have to do is post 1 hour and 10-hour compilations and 3-hour compilations and mixtapes every day, every single day for a year, and the channel will be fine. Never miss a day, never miss a week. And literally, because again, I grew Zenbuster with 120 uploads, and not all of them were the mixtapes. A lot of it is the solo tracks. A lot of it's the solo tracks. The strategy that would grow Zenbuster would be that if I streamed every day on Zenbuster by using OBubble and OBS and did the stream and Streamlabs and did using my remote server, if I did 2 streams of 24/7 radio for Zenbuster to dominate through streaming, I would be doing that. And I set them on a 10-hour timer and loop them. I would be racking up watch time, which would be good for the channel. I'd be racking up watch time. So I would just set those streams on timers throughout the day. And basically you could get more views out of the streams that way. Then I would also need to be uploading somewhere between the 1 hour loops, the 3-hour mixtapes, and the 10-hour sessions, and a combination of those every single day, and need to release a new album at least probably once a month. That would be the strategy. And if I did that, the channel would grow. the numbers are there. The numbers are there. It's just what it is. It would compound too because of what it is and because of how music works, and it would compound. Another strategy is we'd have to sacrifice some of the original music, but if I dropped a mixtape that is inspired by a video game franchise once a month, that would grow it because I could use the other IP to grow me. The problem would be the copyright issue and whether or not that would have to be something like, hey, sorry guys, you can enjoy this music, but you can't stream this one or you can't use this one in your stuff because this one is going to possibly be like a problem because it's a remix of a known thing or a franchise or this or that. So if we literally played off of gaming and movie franchises for remixes and dropped an album once a month of remixes from popular franchises, easily grows the channel off of that. But if we wanted to do it with the original music, it would be slower, but that would be the strategy. But it'd be slower. That's the problem. Everyone here who's done original music knows how that is and knows the struggle and knows that it really comes down to the remixes of franchise stuff, but it's harder to monetize, and then your community can't really use the music. So that's the kind of thing that you run into. So then you have to choose growth over longevity. You have to use fast growth, easy path to fast growth using video game characters, franchises, that sort of thing. If we want to go more original, we have our own original character. We have all this stuff. We have original animation. Like that's the struggle because it costs us money for that. Like I had to pay an animator for this. This is like paid for. I paid a character designer, then I paid an animator. I had to pay 2 different people for this. So we did that. But I own it in perpetuity and I get to use it forever. So like, it's this sort of thing that we'd have to do and leverage. And so therein lies the difficulty. It's a matter of we could have the longevity of this evergreen content that is wholly owned IP, or that gets sacrificed in the name of the expediency of faster growth. So the thing is, we could grow faster with the music channel by using other people's IP, or we could go slower and have the longevity, but we do sacrifice speed. So like that's the trade-off that would be made here. And that's what the bigger problem would be. That's what the bigger problem would be. But that would be the strategy. Just that, like, because I know like a lot of you come here for content strategy. Thank you to Amazing Yacht Destinations. And
Super Chat.
Let's see. Journey says, I have been watching you for 5 years, have 4 channels and Patreon because of you. Every time I get in my head, I hear your voice. Thanks for keeping it real. I try. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, this stream is under 200 people right now, but I think it's doing fine. I think it's really good. Sometimes quality over quantity.
Super Chat.
Is focusing on the audience approach over a niche approach a viable strategy? I recently started posting to again and trying to narrow down my plan. See, the thing is, when I say niche, I actually mean audience. When I say niche, I actually mean audience because it's about the community, right? So think about it. A niche is just a fancy way. So like when we say a niche, don't niche down to a topic, niche down to an audience. You're niching down to an audience. And that's how you beat the algorithm, because by niching down to an audience, you're saying, here is the group of people I want to reach. Here's how big that group of people is. That's the potential. Okay, those people already watch some of these creators. How big is the biggest creator that caters to that audience? Oh, So that's how big it is. Well, that's about how big I can be at best. Or am I okay if I am 10% as big as the biggest creator who's catering to that audience and everything? And you have to be realistic about it. Saying, oh, well, I want the Mr. Beast audience, that's not realistic. It has to be something more specific than that. Okay. For example, Adobe users, Harry Potter fans, Star Wars fans, single mothers, single fathers, single parents, newborn parents, like things like that, right? Oh, people in the healthcare coding industry. Oh, people who are into ventriloquism and puppeteering and that craft. Oh, like that's an audience. That's a specific group of people that care about very specific things. That's hobbyists. Oh, the Second Amendment firearms community. Like that's an audience. Okay, that's not as much of a topic as much as an audience. Okay, so you niche down to an audience, you niche down to a community of people around shared values, shared experiences, enthusiasm, things of that nature. And then you specify now the value that you can deliver to those people. And the thing is, you can always grow your value. That's what expands the audience sometimes. Sometimes what expands the audience and the growth, we feel, oh, I niche down, I'm so narrow. It's narrow because there's a narrow scope of what you can do for those people. You can always add more value. And you do that by working on yourself. So again, if I was making Star Wars content, where I might start with individual videos that might be background and lore videos. If I was like, my Star Wars video channel would be dedicated to the dark side. Mine would be dedicated mostly to the dark side. Would I only cover dark side characters? No, but I would prioritize them first and I'd build my foundation there. So how would I launch a Star Wars channel? Well, again, let's start with what my audience is. If I launch a Star Wars channel, my audience starts with Star Wars fans. But then if I'm going with the dark side, it's people who have a desire for a deeper look or maybe relate more to these characters that get overlooked in favor of the heroes, the rebellion, the Jedi, and so on and so forth. And they say, hey, I indulge power fantasy. There's nothing more powerful than these dark side wielders, so I'm going to go that route. So now I'm catering to them based on a preference now. Okay, so now I have my demographic. I have deep Star Wars fans that aren't as much casual fans. They're maybe the more nerdy types, but maybe they're casuals and they like the dark side. They have a preference there. So I've done that. And so now I have to think about expectations and experiences. What they've probably experienced is a lot of low quality content. So what do? High quality audio right off the bat, high quality visuals right off the bat. So now I'm like, oh, their experience is now that they're getting high effort, high quality content. Now, when I go into the lore and things like that, they get to know that their new experiences, they will probably hear something they haven't heard or a character that they're less familiar with that they're now more interested in, things like that, right? So now I'm catering around that. And then how do I add more value? Well, I could start off with like, okay, here's these individual dark side characters. Then I could go into dark side organizations. Then I could go into philosophy more. But then how do I add more value? Because that's all great. What if I started doing content that is unique and different than anyone else? What if I literally added such deep value that they can't get it anywhere else by doing this, having a dedicated series that I put out weekly where I rewrite the Star Wars sequel trilogy, one chapter at a time, and basically rewrite the entire screenplay and perform it as an audio drama and rewrite the sequel trilogy. That'd be something that nobody could get from anywhere else and not the way that I would do it. Because remember, radio drama. That would make me a unique Star Wars channel. So you see, this is now how you niche down to an audience. You provide unique value. You stand out. You cater to a specific group of people. You do it in a unique way. You demonstrate value at a high level. You show high effort content. You sit there and you analyze the top people in your niche. You figure out how you're going to make better thumbnails than them. You figure out how you're going to get on their level of presentation and aesthetic with your video and your audio quality. And so all of these things. And so that's why focusing on the audience, niching down to an audience, and then specializing in serving that audience rather than agonizing over the algorithm is a much better, much viable strategy. Because then you have to just cater to this very specific group of people, and you have to deeply understand them, and you have to deeply care about them. And it's a much better way to think about and approach YouTube tactically. And I'm not just being fluffy saying, oh, you have to care about your audience. I broke it down. I broke it down into its specifics, and it's all actionable. It's absurdly actionable. These things matter. And these things matter. And so then I go over the specifics of that with people based on their skills and abilities, because then it's not just about the audience, it's about what you can deliver. Do you have the capacity to deliver? Do you have the expertise? Do you have the understanding? Do you have the resources? Do you have the time? So I help people when I work one-on-one with creators, or when we do this in the Awesome Creator Academy program, I kind of audit them and we go, well, how much time availability do you have to even make content? The time availability will dictate the effort and quality of the content that you can do and how consistent and frequent you can do. So we got to figure out your time. We got to figure out your investment capital. How much money do you have to improve your gear? Let's make sure you're using the right amount of money to improve the right thing first, usually audio. Then usually after that, it's something else. Maybe it's editing software, maybe it's lighting, maybe it's something else. So we look at that. We look at manpower. Can you get help with your thumbnails by literally just having someone hold a camera for you? Can you get help with the videos by having someone hold a camera from you? Do you have the money to outsource any aspect of this so that you can use your time more effectively to focus? We look at those things. A lot of people don't have extra help, so they don't have the manpower. Then do they have the experience and expertise to execute effectively? Well, that's where we help, and we come in. If you don't have the experience or the education, we kind of build that up at least. So there's a lot to tackle, and that's why between my one-on-one coaching and the pro group, that's where we harness a creator's ability, and we try to focus on skill development a lot, but we also try to understand and build the clarity and get that clarity through the framework. When we try to use the deeper framework, we use other frameworks to help you really build up and understand the plan and build an action plan to execute on, and also determine and audit what skills you're weak in, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, what opportunities for growth exist, and what outside threats exist to people like you doing the content that you're doing. And that's how we approach it. We like systematically approach it, and we treat it like a startup. We absolutely treat YouTube like a startup over here. So if you want to check that out, it's awesomecreatoracademy.com. Technically T, how you doing and everything like that. Speaking of people who've coached with me, Mr. T on his way to 100,000 subscribers before the end of the year. Najee, if you feel like you can watch thumbnail templates 500 times and still not have good thumbnails, just buy a thumbnail template pack. Look, if you have a rough budget and you can't buy the YouTube starter kit, I did make something that's a little bit more affordable for people. If you go to, hang on, let me bring it up here. I'll just show you. Because not everyone can afford the template bundle, even with the 40% discount. I get that. I have something that is affordable for people. What if I told you I give you a bunch of YouTube templates and a media kit that you can use even for your first brand deals for $9.99? Go to awesomecreatoracademy.com/starter pack. This is $9. You get Photoshop thumbnails and they do not suck. They're good. And this is $9.99. If you cannot afford, even with a $40 off discount, my YouTube starter kit, you can at least get the creator starter pack. We even have a live stream graphics bundle for you, and you can jumpstart your YouTube channel with that now. And so it's $9. You get, a bunch of templates right off the bat for only $9. That's something reasonable and affordable. I've linked it in the chat. We'll also update the description for you, where you can get the creator starter pack for $9.99. And again, all of these things do help the channel. They go back into improving stuff. They improve the frequency. They mean that I will eventually get an editor to help with certain things as well. And so it's always appreciated. Again, we treat everything like startup culture. I treat YouTube like a business. I've never been shy about treating it like a business. And so we do build things that do help creators. And again, if you don't want to buy it, no one's pressuring you and you don't have to. It is just something that is there and that exists, and it is useful. Colin has a good point. I did this as a graphic designer before. Now, you shouldn't copy thumbnails and use them on your channel. You get called out in Twitter on that ruthlessly. Some people even make videos about it. But you can practice replicating thumbnails from your favorite successful creators in your niche. to learn how to do the techniques, but you should never publish those thumbnails because you will get called out for copycatting. Do not steal thumbnails. Do not steal thumbnail designs. And that's not what Colin's saying. But speaking as a graphic designer, you learn through imitation. Same thing with martial arts. You learn through mimicry. So learning to copy those thumbnails to learn the technique is correct. But do not publish those thumbnails that you copied. You just want to learn the technique and know that you are capable of making something that good. Najee says, I feel like I've understood my audience anime reactions, but yet obviously I haven't if I'm only pulling 50 views consistently. Here's the thing. The most viewed anime reactor right now is not doing traditional good old anime reactions. You know who's killing it right now? CJ the Champ. And it's not even close. CJ the Champ makes the most high effort anime reactions in the game. And we all know it. If you're an anime fan, if you're a weeb, and you don't know who CJ the Champ is, I can't help you. CJ the Champ is killing it right now. He's the most savage man in the game. All right? So that's the level of what's drawing people's attention. Generic anime reactions are not going to cut it. So the thing is, if you feel like you're struggling, you're only getting 50 views, there are things you're doing wrong. The thumbnails are probably a big part of it. The title's probably a big part of it, but it's also, you're not doing something that you can be known for, that people are going to shout from the rooftops and people are going to share. You know how to beat the YouTube algorithm? I'll tell you guys the secret of being the YouTube algorithm. Make something so good that whoever is in your audience that is like you is going to sit there and text it and nag 20 people in their friend group in iMessage until they watch the video so y'all can talk about it. Because then those other 20 nerds are going to share it with another 20 nerds and another. And that's the real secret of how things go viral. It ain't the bloody YouTube algorithm. The real reason people go viral has nothing to do with the YouTube algorithm. It's because a bunch of nerds will share the thing they're super, super excited about in their phone to their DM group. That's the truth. So think about it. There's a couple of ways to beat the YouTube algorithm that are very, very simple. One, if you upload at the same time, same bat channel every week or every day, you beat the YouTube algorithm because no one has to worry about whether it's on their homepage. They're like, it's 5:30, time to watch that video that was promised. Oh, it's 5:30, that video is uploading again. We've been conditioned for years by television to say, same bat time, same bat channel, I'm tuning in. So again, a lot of you watch Nick Nimmin. You don't need the algorithm. You know, 9:30 Saturday morning, time for Nimmin Live. Time for Nimmin Live. Nick and D, hey, what's up? It's 9:30. Let's go. Where are you at? So scheduling beats the YouTube algorithm. Sharing beats the YouTube algorithm. If people are sharing the content, you know how many videos get views from me and I watch it 10 times? That's 10 views someone gets because someone in my DM group shared me a video that was so good that I watched it 10 times and argued with them back and forth about that video and everything. Death Battle being a great example of that. If you're into that kind of thing, comics, anime, video games, cartoons, Death Battle. So like, boom. Sit there and I watch Death Battle, that one video 5-10 times, and that's me, one viewer, watching it 5-10 times because I'm arguing with my nerd friends in our DM group about it. You have to make something that will excite people enough to share it and to talk about it and to watch it with their friends and debate it because it's them. That one person is your recruitment mechanism for more viewers. They're going out and they're getting you 20 more soldiers for your channel. So you're not building shareable content that recruits people. And that's because maybe it's not unique enough, it's not exciting enough, and it's not interesting enough. So you have to think about what would make that content shareable in the first place. So really understanding your audience would be executing on shareable content. Then the other thing is if you're consistent in your scheduling the content, that's going to rally people, and then people are going to show up for you. And you don't need to be big for that to be true. It needs to just become a habit. And again, if you're doing it right, those people will recruit, and then they'll bring more people with them because there's consistency to show up for this ritual. So then there's that aspect of it. And then there's search. Search, yes, search has its own algorithm. However, the thing is, if people are searching for you or they're searching for that thing, then you're going to show up. And so then you're not competing in the most saturated part of quote unquote YouTube, which is the homepage. You're competing in search with very few people who are like trying to win and dominate search. Search has less competition as a traffic source. See, y'all are like, oh, I'm going to go homepage because that's where most of the views come from. Yeah, and 90% of the views go to the top 3% of channels. So then you're left fighting for the scraps. Top 3% of channels get 90% of the views from the homepage. What are you even talking about? Oh, I want to win on the homepage. Oh, yeah, you're really going to compete with Mr. Beast for attention. Search, you're not competing with Mr. Beast for attention, are you? Your thing is specific enough for someone to then prioritize it and to care. So the 3 really big hacks for beating the YouTube algorithm as a small YouTuber, you want to beat the YouTube algorithm as a small YouTuber, it's actually very, very simple. Are you making content that has some search value? Are you making content that has some share value? And are you making content on a schedule that people can rely on and show up for? Then what the hell do you need the YouTube homepage for? It's a nice to have now, isn't it? The YouTube homepage becomes a nice to have when people are ritualistically showing up for your content on a schedule, recruiting and sharing people to show up for that ritual. And then when they are searching for what you specifically provide. Think about it. Now, do you really need to compete on the YouTube homepage with Mr. Beast? Think about it. Yeah, it becomes easy to blame the algorithm. Look, everyone goes through a phase of that, I think. So there is something to be said for that. Hey, I'm a beginning creator. What should I do to start from the ground level? From the ground level, get clarity on these things right here. Understand these things and what you provide. What are your core values? What's the aesthetic of your channel? Who's your audience and what they care about? What would matter to build your reputation? How do you stand out with individuality? How are you going to build trust with people? And what are they going to get out of it? What are they going to yield? What are they going to get out of watching your channel? I would go back and rewatch the replay of us going deep into that. I would think about the deeper framework for understanding your audience. Learn the demographics, think about what their age, location, geography are, what their interest and experience and expectations are, their preferences, engage in those communities, and then revise and revisit these things as you get more data. I would say all of that matters. From beginning level of a creator, also learn the beginning fundamentals of YouTube. I have a great video on this channel. It's called Learn YouTube Basics. So you learn YouTube basics. You can watch that here on the channel. I have several videos on how to get your first 100 subscribers. I would watch all of those, and then I would grind on that, get your first 100 subscribers, learn how to shoot better, learn how to edit, learn audio and lighting, learn skills. And also obviously watch thumbnails, tutorials. We have workshops here, deep dives into Photoshop and learning how to do thumbnails. Very important for getting views. Colin asks, will I ever go back to daily content? I might, if I literally just make it live streaming for the most part. I might do daily if I go live streaming. I could see myself in the future. And again, if I can get 3 videos live streaming, if I can get 3 streams a week consistent, I could see that. But I wouldn't ever probably go daily. At the best, I would go Monday through Friday. And what I could see happening sometime, maybe not right now. What I could see is I could see doing Monday through Friday and then just taking the weekends off. And then I get into a relationship, I get married, I find a girl, settle down, try to have kids. Then guess what I do? I probably only work 4 days a week, 4 days on, 3 days off. And I probably either Monday through Thursday and stream twice a week, upload twice a week, get a full-time editor, or we do go daily. And what I would do is I get a full-time editor. I film for 5 hours with a full-time editor. I film for 5 hours, maybe 8 hours. Editor does all the work, works 40 hours a week on that side of it to edit the content. And then I live stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So then I stream 3 times a week. I'm here with the community. I'm doing deep dives. Then my editor probably gets out content Monday through Friday or Monday through Sunday. From me doing filming a bunch of content with them, and then they edit it is how I would do it. So that's how it would have to go. I'd have to get a full-time editor, maybe a full-time editor and a part-time editor, honestly. Film 5 to 10 hours in the week, live stream 3 days a week or 2 days a week, 2 or 3 days a week. Then the editor does the bulk of the editing work, which we keep very simple because we use internal systems and templates. And it doesn't have to be over the top editing for what we do here. So we do all of that. Then as a result of that, we also probably then, with some help from AI, not run shorts on the main channel. We finally monetize the highlights channel with the shorts and with clips from these live streams. And then we put that out. We probably post 3 shorts a day with stuff like that. And then we probably post 3 shorts a day. We probably post clips every week on the clips channel, something like that. So then we just massively flood the clips channel with content. We'd probably then also, using the AI, repurpose a lot of things from my recorded videos and the editing, and they probably work on it a little bit. And then we'd probably go to posting daily Instagram reels, because we're about to hit 100K on my Twitter. The next phase, the next operational plan is we're going to hit 100K on my Twitter next year. We won't do it in 1 year. We'll probably do it in 18 months. But now we're going to go from 24K on my Instagram. We're going to run my Instagram up to 100K followers. By the way, everybody here in the live stream, please go over to @RobertoBlake in Twitter and follow me there, and @RobertoBlake in Instagram and follow me there. Everybody, please go do that when you get a chance. I would really appreciate it. It does help me. The goal is we will literally be probably before the end of this year, because I'm at almost 90K now. We'll probably be at 100K in Twitter before the end of this year. Then over the next 18 months, we will do Instagram carousels that will be bookmarked hundreds of times, because we'll give crazy value by doing condensed little nuggets and quotes from these slides that people will bookmark and will share. So we'll use the sharing strategy in Instagram, and we'll use the bookmark and sharing strategy over there. That'll be our protocol. We're actually making templates, by the way. We're making templates for Instagram carousels as well. So we're going to have a starter kit around that. But we're going to do that, and then we'll run the numbers up to 100K between that. And then if I have an editor, we'll do reels as well. So we'll do reels. We'll use stuff from the podcast. We'll use that. We'll use quotes, and we'll use carousels, and we'll post literally daily for that kind of stuff in Instagram, and it'll be bookmarkable and shareable. So we'll do that. We'll run the numbers up. We'll probably do motivational daily stories with me over on Instagram, because it'll literally take me 5 minutes. So we'll do that content. Boop. Do that. A little bit of day in the life. Boop. We'll do that. All of a sudden, probably in 18 months, we run up to 100K there. So we'll have the numbers we have in YouTube. We'll have the 100K in Twitter soon. We'll run up 100K in Instagram. They won't give us trophies for it like YouTube does. So we'll run those numbers up. Next biggest priorities are obviously getting more people to buy and review the book. The book is doing very well in Amazon right now. It could be doing better. Buy the book if you haven't already. Create Something Awesome: How Creators Are Profiting from Their Passion in the Creator Economy. On sale in Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Target. It's 1 year anniversary of the book, actually, so that's dope. So we have those things going on. Next goal is probably running the email list up to 100K. So that would be the idea here. We've already proven that we can grow a YouTube channel to 100K. We are getting the multiple play buttons from the channels I've grown to 100K. So we have that. We have my clients' play buttons, as well as my own play button. We have my clients' play buttons. More clients are going to send me their play buttons from us working together. So we'll have the proof of the 100K channels and 100K followers really locked down as a goal. And daily content does accelerate that. I'm daily on Twitter for a reason. Daily content does accelerate those things. It's not the only strategy, though. There is strategies for not being daily. We will obviously we'll want to grow the podcast. The goal is to have 100 full-time creators as interviews on the podcast. We're getting very close to that goal. We've done 80 episodes of the podcast. So, but we haven't done 80 creator interviews. I want to do more of the creator interviews and not just the solo episodes. So we're going to have 100 full-time creators. We have an interview dropping with Nathan Barry, who runs ConvertKit, $30 million a year company, was almost bought by Spotify for $200 million. So we have literally an 8-figure entrepreneur, 8 figures a year entrepreneur on the channel, 9-figure valuation. We have the wonderful Justine, over 7 million subscribers. We have an interview dropping with her. trying to schedule this interview with Casey. Next week, we have the VP of Creator Products from Team YouTube that we're doing an interview with. It'll take about a week to edit that. We're also going to be covering some new YouTube announcements as well, breaking story on that. So we have those things in the pipeline. So that's going to be very important. But for me, it's like we wanted to show the social proof around the 100K channels. Plus, we have my own 100K followers in another platform, secondary platform. So we've proven that. We proved a long time ago the $100,000 a year in revenue as a foundation for social proof and thesis of like, okay, I can generate 100,000 in revenue as a content creator. I've proven I can generate 100,000 in revenue on a service-based business around my coaching and membership group. So we have the credibility on the audience growth, the revenue generation in more, and the audience growth in more than one platform, the revenue generation through more than one type of revenue. And now, because we've done it with affiliate marketing, brand deal, 100K affiliate in a year, 100K brand deals in a year. So we've proven that 100K through a service-based entrepreneurship business in a year. So we've proven those numbers. The main thing left would be the 100,000 email list, 100,000 email list in terms of a very strong piece there. It's not as realistic to do $100,000 in revenue on the book. That'd be nice, but that's literally needing to get 10,000 sales on a book, which is very difficult to do. We might be able to do it with the launch strategy of the second book, but that's going to be rough, but we might be able to do it, especially if we use ebook, print book, audiobook, hardcover all at once. Very difficult logistically to do, but the book should be finished in terms of being written by January. Then my editor will take over. I hired a new editor for this one, and we're going to do a revised edition of the first book as well. So we'll do a revised edition, update the ebook, do a second edition of the printing, and then a year later in 2025, the third book in the trilogy will come out. So the thing is, at that point, by then, yes, it'll probably be 100,000 in book sales at that point in 2025 for sure. Can we get it off of the second book launch? I don't know, because that's 10,000 people. That's a little rough, but maybe we can do it. Would like to have 10,000 people on the customer list for the Academy through microtransactions, if nothing else, through small products. We're working on that. We've done 3,000 customers with the Academy. We can't probably do 100,000 customers. That's unrealistic, but we could probably have a customer list of 10,000, an email list of 100,000. It'd be nice to do 100K in book sales gross, but I don't think it's as realistic, but it's a nice goal to have. But if we can grow in the next 2 to 3 years, if we in the next 2 to 3 years, if we could prioritize growing the email list to 100,000, which I think we can, but I think I have to do the email list. I think I have to release emails, newsletters twice a week to do that at least. And I think we have to promote it every day. We have to daily promote it, which probably be through Twitter, Instagram, and the community tab. I think if we did that every day, and if we did some collaborations for growing the email list as well, that maybe in 18 to 24 months, we could have 100,000 email list. So that's not that far-fetched if we aggressively do it for 2 years, trying to grow it over 2 years aggressively with those methods. Yes, I'm prolific in Twitter anyway, so we could do that. We just have to add to every tweet a promo for the email list at the end of every big tweet, every real value add tweet. We'd have to promote in the community tab at least twice a week, and we'd have to release the newsletter twice a week, and then we could probably grow it to from like being about 10,000 newsletter to 100,000 newsletter in about 2 years. If we did that aggressively, especially if we use Instagram a lot more to promote the email list, we could probably grow it. Probably with Instagram, we could probably also grow it with ads. I think the main thing that would help grow it is also when we do the master classes. The free master classes will be an excellent lead magnet for that because it's true value. So doing that and even possibly running some paid traffic to the master classes to grow the email list probably runs it up to 100,000. You'd be shocked how much you could do in brand deals with 100,000 email list. You could probably do more in brand deals with 100,000 email list than you could with a YouTube channel with 100,000 subscribers, if I'm being honest, because also it's a much more affluent buying audience. And then if you have what I have in terms of 60% open rates, I have 60% open rates. So that's just like too good to ignore. Even with 30-40% open rates, but that size of an email list, it's too good to ignore for software companies, which is who I would work with. And maybe software companies, mostly, probably a few hardware companies, but mostly SaaS product as well. So like that's a real practical thing. And then I'm trying to figure out some thesis around these three things of, all right, 100,000 audience, 100,000 in revenue, and then 100,000 email list. I'm trying to put some strategic through line to that idea, because I've done two of the three things, and I know I can do the third one because I worked at a company and I grew. When I worked at a company back in the old days, I actually grew the company's email marketing list to about 200,000. They already had 60 or 80,000 at the time, and I grew it to 200,000. So I know from old school marketing, I know that I have the capacity to grow a 100K email list. I just haven't done it in my personal brand. I didn't make it a priority. I made revenue generation a priority, which probably would have been easier if I had grown the list more. But 10,000 is not bad. 10,000 list isn't bad. So in terms of daily content, I technically already make daily content. I do it on Twitter. I do daily content on Twitter. We're going to go back to daily content on Instagram, daily content on YouTube. If you count the community tab, I do daily content on YouTube. So from a strategic standpoint, eventually, if I have an editor, the push to daily would probably be more the clips channel if we do daily. And then the way I probably do semi-daily is on this channel anyway, 2 to 3 live streams a week. And then the editor covers the rest with the edited content that we do that is shot and in advance and is all evergreen and structured. We'll be doing weekly articles that will have videos attached to them on awesomecreatoracademy.com soon, which will be ad-free content, because what I want for Awesome Creator Academy is I want over 100 videos that we have on Awesome Creator Academy, plus our masterclasses. I want 100 ad-free videos on Awesome Creator Academy that makes it a destination, because we have 100 articles already. We have 100 articles. I want 100 videos there hosted that we own everything, and there's no advertisers, there's no advertiser interest, there's no algorithm. We want a non-algorithm relationship with audience. And so the thing is, I'm willing to go ad-free on Awesome Creator Academy with exclusive content with no paywall on those 100 free videos, because I want the 100 free videos to be lead generation for the email list and for product sales. And I'm willing to make 100 videos over there without ads and believe and trust that the content will be good enough to justify growing the list or getting the sale, even on one of our $9 products. And I believe that for every 1,000 people that watch the free content or read the articles, for every 1,000 people, I believe we'll capture at least a $10 sale on one of our $10 products, if not on one of our $100 products. And then when I release courses, maybe every 10,000 people, we get a sale on a $500 course, which is perfectly fine. That is a much better value add than ad revenue and worrying about $10 CPMs, when we can have much better CPMs. We can get $30 to $50 CPMs or higher, $100 CPMs or higher with that strategy long term across 100 videos than we could with YouTube and ad revenue. Ad revenue would not be worth it compared to sales and lead generation. So that's where we will also shift, but we're not going to abandon YouTube. It's just that I can make more educational, streamlined content if I don't think about an algorithm, which is part of why I'm doing live streaming now. If we go anti-algorithm and we go purely audience as a business model, I believe that it'll be better. And I mean, you guys can tell me what you think in the live stream and the comments about the strategy, because I just believe that if we make 5 to 10 minute, very concise, very thoughtful videos on our own website, and then we use the email list to promote them, we use the YouTube community tab to promote them, we use my Twitter and Instagram to promote them, and we drive people to an ad-free experience where they know, yes, they're going to have the opportunity to be sold something, but they're going to get real value and they're not watching an ad. And when the sales pitch comes, it's from me who just gave them the value. And the sales pitch is literally just buy my book or buy a $10 template bundle. I think that's a really reasonable approach to providing value versus a purely ad-driven algorithm model with us being beholden to the masters of the universe. Like, I want more control of that, and I want to have a non-algorithmically driven relationship with the audience. So then in my mind, it means we have to drive more traffic to the website, provide ad-free content, use direct sales to capture the relationship and monetize it ourselves and own the relationship and the value that we create, not split that value with a platform 55-45 or 70-30, get the people creating the value to absorb it. And then we also, with the email list side, don't have somebody controlling our traffic and our relationship with our audience and our access to our community. And again, am I someone who has to worry the most about censorship? No, but I think about these things and I think about who am I beholden to if I don't own everything independently, the same way I thought about leaving the 9-to-5 and why I didn't own any of my work. I didn't own any of the credit for my work. I didn't get to have that sense of investment. So I'm like, I want to do my own thing. So I became a business owner. Well, freelancer who became an entrepreneur and business owner. Now as a content creator, I'm feeling the same itch. It's not that I will ever leave YouTube, not willingly. I'm feeling that same itch again of I want to own everything. Excuse me. I'm feeling that same itch again of like, I want to own everything. I don't want anything to ever be able to be taken from me. And it's not about whether or not I think that that will happen. It's about eliminating the damage that the possibility holds and eliminating the anxiety that the possibility holds. Not every creator is in that position. I understand that, and I believe that. I just want to know for myself and at least a few like-minded individuals that I have those options and that I am not beholden to anybody and I'm not owned by anybody. That's how I feel. I felt that way as an employee, and now I feel it as a creator that I'm just want to own everything to some degree or have the option of saying, well, there is something that is just mine that I own, that the advertisers don't have a say in, that the sponsors don't have a say in, that the platforms don't have a say in. I just want to have my own say. And again, I know not everyone will feel that way. That's more of a me thing. We got a great super chat here from Kaching King.
Super chat.
So close to 600K. Congrats. Yep, absolutely. Frosty Lone Wolf says, when should I change my channel name? Changing your channel name is kind of about making it easy for it to spell for your audience, easy to find and search, and easy to understand. So I would just kind of think about what represents you and why, and if it's anything meaningful to your audience, and that would be what decides changing. Oh, wow. You almost signed a TV deal with Nickelodeon, but the pandemic ruined everything. Ah, that sucks, Elmore's Music Lab. Maybe the deal can be brokered again now that the pandemic's over. Yes, keep it real, Roberto. Don't ever change. Thank you. Javon has a question. How would you appeal to your audience niche when it comes down to Disney, Lorcana, new trading card game? It has been flying off the shelves, hugely popular. I would actually borrow inspiration from what my friend Pat Flynn does. My friend Pat Flynn runs a YouTube channel with 3 of my homies that I mentored in the Academy Pro group, Zach, Jason, and Dan. He runs Deep Pocket Monster with them. Deep Pocket Monster is great for the Pokemon community. I think you could borrow a lot of the ideas for that for Lorcana with Disney in terms of and you could do a lot of pack openings. I would also look at what my friend Leon Hart. Leon was one of my earliest coaching clients. He is one of the biggest Pokemon YouTubers for opening packs. So I would look at his channel as well and then take inspiration with that, bring that to the Lorcana community. I think that'd be very good. Lois Lorena Thank you. Makes much sense to me. Over a specific topic, I don't want to sell myself short. Yep, absolutely. Thank you for all the support. You're always like great at supporting in the community. Doug says value first. Agreed. Rob B says, do you think Geek Culture Channel covering two topics like Star Wars and Dragon Ball could or should work, or should you focus on one? Focus on one. They're completely different communities. You might feel like there's overlap because you like both. Nope. Pick one. Pick one. When it comes to fandoms, pick one. Now, if you were going to do anime as a whole, that'd be different. Anime, if you want to do multiple anime, that's different. But anime and Star Wars, nope. Nope. Bought the YouTube Starter Kit. First, help me understand how to make a thumbnail. Yeah, it's very good with that. You're going to ask for top brand deals affiliate kit. It will come in handy when I pivot to a different format, such as self-improvement. Bitcoin clips. You can actually use the same discount code on the brand deal starter kit. You can use that same discount code until the end of September. And this is the brand deals starter kit. And I'm going to link it here. And in terms of that discount code, if you want a discount on that, use this discount code at checkout. Use discount code at checkout for 40% off. And that will get you a discount on that for any of you who want to check that out. Yeah, the brand deal starter kit is really good. See the champ equals video essays / reviews, not reactions. That's why I said it's not normal reactions, because the thing is, it's video essays, reviews, and reactions. You might think that they're different, but the thing is, the viewer is the same, right? So the thing is, the reaction format is getting stale. That's why the direction that CJ the Champ went is going that way. And what you would want to do, honestly, is, or here's another thing. You could react to CJ's videos if you want to do reactions. If you just want to do reactions, I kind of get it. But the thing is, aside from the top reactors, reaction content's getting kind of stale unless you bring something to the table. There's ways to do it. I've thought about doing a reaction channel, but I already know how I do a reaction channel. I've thought of taking the More Roberto Blake channel and turning the More Roberto Blake channel into a Roberto Blake Reacts. And to some degree, I think of doing it. The part of me, there's two reasons I kind of think of it. Well, there's three reasons. Three reasons I keep thinking of taking the More Roberto Blake channel to a reaction channel is, one, I know it'd be easy to get monetized the way I would do it. So then I'd have yet another monetized channel under my belt. That's really good from a case study standpoint. It gives me an entertainment channel under my belt that has my face on it, which is another good case study for social proof. So, and then there's the possibility that it could get to 100,000 if I do it right. So those selfish vanity reasons make me want to do the reaction thing. The less selfish reason is there's a lot of stuff on the internet that I like that I know I could react to. And there are things I know that I could react to from big YouTubers that will get me views that will not get copyright claimed by those big YouTubers, number one. So if I did a Roberto Reacts video, I could go ahead and I could do a Roberto Reacts video and I could I know what I would source. If I was going to do a Roberto Reacts videos, I would source probably reacting to things like the button. So I'd react to like the button. I'd react to certain new movie and video game trailers that people know I would like. So that's an easy one, but that one's more, I might get copyright. So I'd play with that a little bit. But I know that I could react to every Mr. Beast video and get views. And I know that I could react to CoffeeZilla's videos, which I really, really enjoy, and get views. And I know I can react to Sunny V2's videos and get views and not get copyright claimed. And I know I can react to Magnate Media's videos and do reactions to those and get views and not get copyright claimed. So I know 4 or 5 YouTubers that fit my things I like, genuinely like, and watch anyway, and that I could react to them and that I could get views. And then in terms of compilation reactions, for me, I could react to compilation. I could make compilations of things that I want to react to. I can package them correctly, and then I know that they make sense for me and my audience because we're into nerdy things. And then I could react to those nerdy things. And then all of a sudden I know that I would siphon views from that. And it'd be easy enough for me to do this once a week or something if I wanted to, maybe twice a week if I was enjoying myself a lot. And then all of a sudden, I know that I can grow that. I know that I can grow that. I know I can get views. I know I can do it. The other thing is I know aesthetically that I can put together graphics and aesthetics and a chat and a whole thing that make my reactions look like a little bit more effort. And the thing is, I also know little things and tweaks that I can do with my graphic design background and also with my After Effects animations background that would make my stuff stand out a little bit more. So all of a sudden, I know that I could come in swinging with a very small YouTube channel and look better than most small YouTube channels, get attention real quick, pull that in, and that I would do it. So the thing is, I have a pathway to that. So the thing is, with your side and anime, the thing is, you'd have to think a little bit more strategically. I'm not saying you make low effort content, but I'm saying there are so many React channels and so many anime React channels that there's a point where nothing feels special. You have to think about, well, what would make stuff feel special? And I hate to break it to people. A lot of times as content creators, there's this vanity and ego that says, well, the special thing is my personality. Your personality isn't obvious. That doesn't even work in the real world. The thing that attracts people in the real world, they don't know you. They don't know you at a glance. No one knows what a great personality you have until they take the time to talk to you. So how do you get people to take the time to talk to you? You have to do something overtly obvious that demonstrates that you're interesting and worthwhile and worth the time. If you can't do that, they never get to step 2 and never learn about your personality. YouTube is no different. So the thing is, a lot of people's issues with YouTube would be the same problems that people have with socialization in the real world. They don't know how to present as interesting, and they don't know how to present as somebody that has something worthwhile. And so a book is judged by its cover. This is why packaging is defeating most of you in YouTube right now. Your biggest barrier in YouTube is not the algorithm. The algorithm's giving you not views. The algorithm's giving all of you impressions. Go to your analytics right now. Type in the comment section or type in the chat how many impressions YouTube gave you for your last video. Actually, no, not even for your last video. Screw that. Tell me how many impressions YouTube gave you for the last 28 days. It's right there in your analytics. It's in the reach tab. Tell me how much it gave you for your whole channel in the last 30 days. I'm going to prove a point to all of you right now. So do it in the chat. Give me the engagement. Like the video while you're at it. And in the comment section. For the last 28 days, how many impressions did YouTube give you? You cannot say YouTube is not pushing your content because you are getting impressions and you know it. And I can prove it. It's in your analytics. So if YouTube's giving you those impressions, people are making a choice to not click on your videos. They're saying not interested. You have to solve for that. You're not solving for the algorithm. You're solving for, I saw you. I was sitting there. I saw you coming up. Not interested though. Yeah, you approached me. Not interested. Nope. Bye. Thank you. Next. That's the thing you have to solve for. You have to solve for getting waved off. You're not solving for a lack of exposure, my friends. You have to solve for getting waved off. That's the problem. And waved off is you're not getting clicks. It's swipe away. For YouTube Shorts, it's swipe away. For the other videos, it's clicks. That's someone not choosing you. So it's not the lack of opportunity. If you have more than 0 impressions, it ain't a lack of opportunity. If you have more than 100 impressions, it's not a lack of opportunity. It's not being picked. It's being waved off. It's thank you next. More interested in something else. So you have to solve for that. Harsh as it is, you have to solve for that. So what's that? That is a packaging problem. It may not even be a quality of content or value of content problem. Intrinsic value, intrinsic quality, personality may not be the problem. It's the packaging. It's the packaging. Dano asks, is my QR code strategy working? Yes, it is, but not the way you guys think. It's working more for my in-person event stuff easily, just like that. It will work more on my YouTube videos when I have it in the video more prominently and larger on the screen. That's where that will work, but it is working in person IRL. It's working fantastically for the Academy and for the slides and the email list. It's working really good. So I was at an in-person event and almost everybody in the crowd, I was in a room that could not have had more than 100, 150 people We got 120 people to click on the to scan the QR code. We got 120 scans of the QR code. So the thing is, the performance of that was we must have cleared 80-90% of the room based on that. So it did really well in person. Highly recommend it. Tech King Mike, what's up? He says, I know what works for my channel. I'm just struggling to adjust it to what works for me personally. That's the rub, man. That's the rub. That's what's rough for people. It's between what works for the channel and what works for the human are not going to always be the same thing. And that's a rough choice for people. But I treat it like a business. It's like there's a reason people say it ain't personal, it's business. There's a reason. And the thing is, depending on where you are in life or your career or how happy you are with your book, how happy you are with your career, your job, your life, you have to make a choice about whether or not you're willing to take a hit personally to advance professionally. Everyone has to make that choice at some point. Yep. Yeah, thumbnails seem to be a challenge for a lot of you. A lot of you saying the framework is great. Glad to hear it. Yep. Thank you, Mark Colville, for saying that I'm still the most informative channel for growing your online business. I appreciate you. Yep. Audiobooks coming soon. My audience is the RDC, Caleb City crowd. They like anime, video games, and nerd topics. Majority of them are Black, 18 to 25. Is that a good avatar? You're getting closer. You're getting closer. So the thing is, you have to also, to some degree, adjust for beyond that, why they like those creators. And part of it is culture, because I rock with those creators. I've loved those creators for a long time. So like RDC World 1, Caleb City, and everything like that, a lot of it is because of how much they incorporate culture into the content that they're making. So the thing is, it's not just about anime, video game, and nerd topics, and they're majority Black. Why are they majority Black? Because there's unique cultural comedic context. There's a unique culture to Black comedy. There's a unique culture to Black comedy. Drill down more into that, into the avatar, and then you'll understand what jokes work and why they work, what anime works and why it works, what series works and why it works, what memes work and why those memes work. That would help you tremendously. Yeah, Daryl did inspire getting the YouTube plaques. Daryl inspired that. Daryl's a great friend. He's also a tremendous mentor in the space. I'm happy to be speaking at Vid Summit. I did an in-person mastermind with him that was life-changing, changed my perspective. He helped me with my 3-year plan and my goals. He's helped me make a path and trajectory in my life that's going to give me the space to, focus on my long-term goal of getting married, having kids. So Daryl Eves is a wonderful, generous human being. I cannot praise him nearly enough for everything he's done for me, done for the community. And he has inspired a lot of the trajectory of some of the places I'm going in my business. There are other things that are very uniquely me. But there are things that I am borrowing from him because he's directly passed some of those things on. And he's a tremendous inspiration to so many people in the space. And I will never forget what he did for our good friend Owen with helping raise money for his cancer treatments. I will never forget how all of you rallied around Owen in the community and what it meant to us. And I'm just going to try not to cry right now. So, yeah. So Daryl is a very special person in our lives. And he means a lot to us, and what he did for Owen and Teresa and the kids is like just it's a lot. The Family Adventure says, what products can a family channel sell? I would look heavily into what you use in your own everyday lives and then try to think of accessory products to build on top of that. Would probably be the angle that I would go. Chick Ching King says, I think that's a terrific business plan. You'd have more control over the entire environment that your viewers would be engaged in. Yeah, that's my real goal. That's a big part of my real goal with everything is creating a catered experience for the audience, and knowing that it's exactly the way that I want it, the way that they enjoy it, and There are a lot of people. I think that ads can be okay, and I advocate for YouTube Premium all the time. But the thing is, I feel like there is a very underrated part of the creator community that when they don't get ad revenue, they're not motivated to show up and do things. And I'm like trying to move away from that and saying, well, if you create enough value and then you build offers, and then you have even microtransactions, small offerings, things like that, merchandise, sticker packs, this and that, people are grateful. And the thing is, if you give an ad-free experience, not everyone's just going to be like, I don't have to do anything. They will support. There are enough people out of 1,000 people that will support you on an ad-free experience that I feel will justify it, especially if you have ad-supported content in other places. I think it balances out. So I'm trying to look at that. And the thing is, I've been doing it with articles for a hot minute. I've been doing it with Twitter for a hot minute, and now Twitter monetizes me finally. But it's not that much money, but it's something. But like looking at it, I'm like, what about just using my offers and using my products, even my $10 products, and just saying I can make more from 1,000 views if I have a $10 product than worrying about having a $10 CPM, because I create enough value to justify 3, 4, 5, 10 people out of 1,000 buying a $10 product and supporting me directly. That's $100 CPM. And the thing is, they'll have something that's mine, and I'll have a relationship with them, and I'll have their email. It makes more sense. And it's a one-time deal, and they can still consume all the content ad-free that they want, but they know that they supported me directly, and they're keeping that going. So like, there's just these certain things make more sense to me as I move on as a creator. Like, there are things that make more sense to me in terms of the business model and the systems of these platforms. And I want creators to consider how they can have more equity in their own brand by learning how to directly sell to their audience. And that real democracy is the people who vote with their wallet. Do you need to go to film school or business school to become a YouTuber? No, you absolutely do not. The reason I did a lot of the things I did with this channel is you can use everything I teach to build this, because I have OG that are still very good, but I'm going to make some new ones for them. I have camera tutorials. You can learn how to be a YouTuber with very basic videos. You can learn how to be a YouTuber in terms of the camera side. You do not need to go to film school for that. You absolutely do not. You do not need to go to graphic design school to be able to be a thumbnail designer, and you do not need to go to business school. I teach the business of creativity on this channel. Chris Doe does a great job teaching the business of creativity. That's one of the other reasons I want to live stream more often, is I want to teach you all the business side. I know not everybody will tune in for a regular YouTube video, but they might tune in for a live stream where I talk you through business and I bring up data points and slides and show the back end of my own revenue streams beyond my AdSense, and show the back end of my Kajabi dashboard. I think that those kind of things will drive it. So I think that makes more sense. We got some data, by the way, here from the community. We got some data on some of your impressions. So, all right, if you got 166K impressions, it was a 1.7 click-through rate. Okay, so maybe you have to work on the titles and thumbnails specifically for those videos. Let's Play Master, you might, but you got 166K impressions. What about getting that click-through rate up? If you can get that click-through rate up to a 3.0, that's a considerable amount of views. Contempo Coding, 3.3 million impressions. There you go. John Creative Minds, 32,743 impressions. See? Okay. 37K for long form, 320K for shorts. Nice. So again, it's impressions are happening. YouTube is pushing content. It's a matter of people not getting clicks. 36K impressions, 3% click-through rate. Nice, Sir Book Sage. Appreciate you. That's awesome. Louis Lorena, 36K impressions. Okay, so YouTube is pushing content. So then that's different. No Brainer Language says, hey, one solution is trying other platforms. TikTok gave me 3K views versus 20K on YouTube. People must be in parallel worlds, but there's an option at least. The TikTok algorithm is different than YouTube's algorithm. So do keep that in mind. Instagram Reels has a different algorithm. That's valid. She Fires actually did a coaching call with me. Roberto, for VidSummit and other events, do you offer special merch product offerings for attendees? I'm working on it. One thing I'm going to do at these events is I'm shipping more of my books. So I'll be doing book signings in person, and people can get a signed copy of my book at the events in person. If they show up to the events, they can bring their book, or I will have them there to sell. So that's going to be it. I'm probably going to be doing bookmarks at the event. We might have a couple of giveaways of some new merch and print on demand and merch and stuff like that. Some hoodies. So we're going to do that. Possibly stickers. I'm trying to make, if possible, in the future, swag bags. I'm trying to make swag bags in the future. Shorts. Do they hurt a channel with regular videos? It depends on the content you're making. If you're an education channel, probably. If you're an entertainment channel, they benefit you. If you're a YouTuber, are you an employee, or are you YouTube or for YouTube, or an entrepreneur? If you are a YouTuber, you are self-employed as dictated by the 1099 forms and the IRS. So you are a self-employed person, and you will pay self-employed taxes. You will not have the protections or benefits of an employee. If you're a YouTuber, you'll be self-employed. I did a video about YouTube taxes. You should definitely watch it. And you'll pay that sweet, sweet self-employment tax if you live in the United States. So you are absolutely self-employed. Self-employed sometimes is called entrepreneurship, but from a standpoint in terms of liability, taxes, and legalities in this country, in America, you're self-employed if you're a YouTuber and a content creator. You get a 1099 form for everything, not a W-2. You're not a W-2 if you're a YouTuber, and you don't have those employee protections or any of that. You're on your own, and you pay self-employment taxes, and you pay for your own health care and your own insurance. You're on your own. Well, not really. I'm here for you. I'm just not paying your taxes or your insurance. 71.2K impressions, 1.8% click-through rate. Nice. So again, if you could just get that click-through rate to 3, you're going to be in much better territory. Let's Play Master says, I saw that most channels with 1 million subs have over 4K plus videos, most likely due to the best to post as much as possible with good quality instead of best quality is what I realized. Yeah, I've done the data on this. I've actually done a case study on this. I'm publishing the data from that case study soon, but I studied the top 1,000 channels in every one of the major 18 verticals on YouTube. And that's because I pay for a premium subscription of Social Blade, and I pay for the second most expensive one. So with Social Blade, there's a lot of data and stuff, and you can use the top list data. I'm also playing with some code that will let me access the API. And so the thing is, I look at like the top 1,000 in like every niche in YouTube, because again, I have access to that. And I can show you a little sneak peek of some of that here. So, sorry, dog. Yeah, but I can look at the top 1,000 YouTubers, and I can sort them by subscriber counts. Okay. And I've done a study, and I can look at this for any genre of YouTube. Like I can look at education, for example. I can look at top 1,000 YouTubers in education, and then I can sort by subscribers. And so what I realized is number of uploads on average is extraordinarily high, especially in education for the higher subscribed channels, and also for their views. And I figured out a couple of reasons for this. One, just more opportunities. Most of the content's evergreen, so that always helps quite a bit. Most of the content's evergreen. So that makes a difference. And also the videos suggest each other in suggested views. So they end up boosting each other for a channel that does that. And so that's why that makes sense. And so there are exceptions to that rule for people who make viral videos, but the fewest amount of creators successfully make viral videos. So it does literally become a quantity of good enough quality game to get to those higher subscriber counts. And I've studied, like I said, I'm putting something together because I ran numbers and averages. It's just weird to animate the data. That's going to take me forever to animate the data. But I might have to settle for the top 100 in every niche to be able to animate the data more easily. to be honest with you. But I did a thing where basically I took the averages across every one of these and every one of the main 18 verticals for YouTube. And so when I say verticals, I mean like literally the categories that YouTube has. So like when you go to the categories, these are literally the categories. Automobile 1, 2, there's like 18 of them, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Yeah, like 18 categories, right? So there's 18 main categories for YouTube. Again, there's more niches than this, but these are the channel types. You could call them that. You can call them categories, whatever. You can call them verticals, whatever you want. There's like 18 of these, right? And I've helped someone get a silver play button in each of these at this point. Some of them more than once. I mean, even with pets and animals and everything, McCann dogs, but the gold play button in that one, actually, OG Academy member, so there's, who did we help in nonprofits? Chevy Dude for automobiles, Rev Match TV is coming up there on automobiles. Stuff like that. So, like in basically every category at this point. So then I've studied the top 1,000 channels in every category. I ran a spreadsheet. I did the averages of how many uploads, how many years on platform. It was really annoying to do. And the conclusion I came to was that it was time and market and the amount of uploads. It was time and market and the amount of uploads was the overwhelming law of averages. Was people who've been doing this for more than 7 years and people who've been doing it that have well over 1,000 uploads was the most easily recognizable pattern that I was able to identify. And it was consistent across all 18 categories. And it just like was the most obvious thing if you really think about it. But like all anyone does is look at the outliers, the outliers of the outliers. The outliers of the outliers is all anyone looks at, but it's like overwhelmingly, it seems to be the most consistent that it's down to the volume in market and time in market, meaning they uploaded more videos and they did it for a longer period of time than anyone else. And the quality was acceptable. So that changed a lot of my perspective on things. And I know the idea of like make the best videos ever, make the best videos ever, make the best videos ever. I understand why the Mr. Beast of the world pushed that. That's not possible for most people, especially not most working class creators. Getting to a standard of decent enough and then getting as much of that out consistently and reliably and improving incrementally along the way and doing that for a very long time seems to be the most reasonable path to 1 million subscribers that there actually is. This thing that Mr. Beast pushes isn't the thing to get to 1 million subscribers. It's probably the thing to get to 10 million subscribers, if we're being honest. Mr. Beast philosophy is a 10 million subscriber philosophy. There is a simple grinding method to getting to 100,000 subscribers. I've proven that one so many times for 100,000 subscribers. To 1 million, the grind is a little bit more intense. And what is really specific about 1 million subscribers is becoming a destination channel that offers something unique enough that's hard to duplicate. You don't have to be Mr. Beast level, but you do have to be something that is desirable and non-duplicatable at the same time. That pushes you from that 100K to that 1 million. The problem is, even for me, the problem is to get there, it will be a big investment of money and resources because it's probably not possible for most solo content creators. Because the other thing that I audited is I reduced the number of channels. And the thing is, I selected a reduction of channels, and then I did a report where I looked at case studies around 1 million subscribed channels. And then I did an interesting thing. I was like, how many of these people are solo content creators versus has a team? And I came to the conclusion that while it's not impossible, that it is nearly impossible today. It's nearly impossible unless you already came from like money and privilege in some way, whatever, or unless you're going YouTube Shorts. YouTube Shorts is different. YouTube Shorts is a completely different thing. But as far as non-YouTube Shorts videos, getting to 1 million subscribers is not a solo game anymore. You can get to 100,000 subscribers as a solo creator. That's hard, but you can do it. You can solo your way to 100,000 subscribers. You're going to need to party up to get to 1 million subscribers. And 10 million subscribers is not even having a party. It's having a guild. To use gaming terms, if you're the best solo player, you can get 100,000 subscribers if you're the best solo player. You want to get to 1 million subscribers, you need to be a decent party. And then you get to 10 million, you got to be an elite guild. That's the reality. So it's teamwork to make the dream work if you want to go bigger. Is it impossible to do solo? No, but near impossible. Very difficult. Not likely, improbable. And big part of it is you just have less time and less resources to be that competitive. And that's what it really comes down to when you start analyzing numbers. And I hope that's not too discouraging for people, but it's a reality. It's like, I just run the numbers. And I analyze the data. And what it really came down to was that. Yep. Appreciate you, Viper. So yeah. So like, I mean, the data points that we can analyze will tell us the truth around what's happening with channels. And then that is something that we can use to, thank you, Henry, for the super chat. We can use the data that we collect to start to understand the truth. It's really rough sometimes to take that to heart and then say, well, I don't have this situation, I don't have that situation, but you can change that little by little, piece by piece. You can change the conditions. You can know where the goalpost is and say, okay, I'll rise to the occasion. You can level up just like a video game. You can learn the skills. You can invest in your skills. You can learn your skill tree properly. You can go down a path. You can do your right build for your character, and you can, figure the strategy out for your play style to make it work. And then you can level up, and then you can achieve your goals. But it's very difficult. Yes, I do agree with what you said about Social Blade. I also believe that variety gaming channels will lack quite a bit on click-through rate, since it's an FPS viewer won't really watch a racing game. Yeah, no, when you start to do too much variety within something, you start to fragment the audience, and then that makes it harder to consolidate views. Fragmentation versus consolidation is a problem with variety channels in general, let alone variety gaming. There's an exception for education channels, because education channels don't need to consolidate views to be successful. Education channels don't always have to consolidate to be successful. There is variety within education channels and tutorial channels. However, their business model doesn't require the consolidation. Gaming does. Gaming requires consolidation rather than fragmentation. It is very hard to be a variety gamer. I recommend that if you want to be a gamer, what I would recommend is pick a game or genre of game and stick to it for your edited videos. And then for streaming is where you get to have fun and make whatever you want and do variety and be as a streamer, because then that's you and your core community. And that's what people should do differently. What people should do differently is gaming. And I coach a lot of gamers. I'm coaching 10 gamers right now with Supercell. Around the Supercell games, Clash Royale, Clash Mini, Clash Clans, Boom Beach, and Brawl Stars. Okay. And what I tell people is that variety is a really hard thing to sell to a viewer because it sounds nice, but streaming, you can do variety of streaming. If you're going to do a YouTube channel, I would tell you focus on some unique, specialized value proposition that your audience understands and build around them and build community around them. And then for you to have variety and feel like you're doing something that you want to do or whatever, go to live streaming on YouTube. You don't even need Twitch for it. Like, go to YouTube for live streaming and do variety within the live streams, because live streams are just for your core supporters anyway. They're just for your hardcore ride or die fans anyway with the live streams. The replays might have value for other people, and then you're not worried about it as much. And the ad revenue will be better on the live streams because they're longer, so they have more ads in them. So, boom. How do you stand out? So one of the things you have to do to stand out is you have to adjust well, for one thing, the aesthetics make you stand out. In the real world, how would you stand out? In the real world, you stand out with your style, your appearance as surfing level. How do you stand out on a bookshelf? It's design, it's branding, it's aesthetics. So you stand out with titles and thumbnails for one thing. And so there's packaging. So that's packaging. So that's one thing you stand out. Then the other thing is the shareability, something unique enough that you do, and shareability that says, hey, go to this person for this. And then again, it's about standing out in such a way that's so interesting, so compelling that people want to do that. The other way you stand out is you said your production quality is good. You know, it's another way to stand out. Good is good. Great is better. So sometimes go from good to great eliminates 90% of the competition, because now you're not competing with 90% of people, you're competing with 10% of people. So start to think about what would looking like the top 10% look like. Change your standards. You want to stand out? You know what stands out to people? Standards. High effort stands out. So what represents high effort in your niche that is obvious to people? That is obvious to people. So there's things you do there to stand out. Harder to produce content. Only so many of the YouTube educators get to interview YouTube employees. So when we want to stand out, one of the things is like, oh, I interviewed a YouTube employee. That is different. Oh, I interviewed or someone who's a 1 million subscribed channel. Oh, I coached someone to 1 million subscribers. Here's what happened. So we do things to stand out. They're like, okay, here's the thing I can do that 99% of people can't do. There you go. So results stand out. Social proof stands out. Hey, I won this award. That's the thing that stands out. If you're a gamer, I'd say that like feats in the game, trophies, challenges, those things stand out. Something that's impossible to do. I did this without that. I beat this without the jump button. That's okay. Prove it. I need to see that. Curiosity. Those things stand out. 5 strategies in terms of ways to stand out or whatever. Curiosity. So basically Ripley's Believe It or Not, too good to be true. Curiosity, too good to be true. That's a big deal. Okay. So curiosity. What's another one? Controversy. This thing happened and it's bad. Tell me more. Okay. So controversy. Conspiracies. That does it. Okay. Contrarian views. That does it. What's another one? Challenges. I can't believe that happened. Oh, you can't do that. That's impossible. Challenges. Oh, I broke a world record. Okay, like challenges. Oh, you broke a world record? That was a challenge. Oh, I can't do that. Like, what? How'd you do that? Like, oh, wow, that's amazing. Okay, so challenges. You break a world record. You do an impossible feat. Curiosity. Well, wait, how's that work? Why does that work? Why does that exist? Wait, what is that? Okay, conspiracy. Huh. That seems odd, or, oh, that can't possibly be true, or same thing. Okay. Contrarian views. It's like, hey, 90% of the people I'm watching say this thing, you're contradicting them. Well, why? Maybe you're right. Maybe you're wrong. Maybe I want to agree with you. Maybe I want to yell. So there are contrarian views. There you go. Controversy. Oh, so-and-so got exposed. What's going on there? What'd they do? Those 5 things almost always get, like, if you look at every video on YouTube that gets 10 million views in a 30-day period, if you look at every video on YouTube that's not a YouTube short, that gets 10 million views in a 30-day to 90-day period, they do one of those 5 things. If you look at any video that gets 1 million views in a week that's not YouTube shorts, they do one of those 5 things. Every one of them. Basically, every one of them. Think about it. I'm not wrong about this particular thing. It's a pattern that you can observe. Most of the time. Provable. Will there be like 1 out of 50 that contradict what I'm saying? Sure, you can find an anecdote. It'll be the exception that doesn't disprove the rule, though. What kind of monetization can be done when the niche info on government loan programs? Actually, the monetization is really good for that sort of thing, because one of my coaching clients, Steve Ram, is killing it with content that he did during the pandemic around the stimulus, student loans, taxes, Social Security. He's killing it. So that stuff has a high CPM. That's like a $20 CPM, $30 CPM most of the time. So yeah, that can be really good. And I've coached someone who's done that. So like, that's another one of the, I need to just keep making a list. I need to make a list of all the people that I helped get to silver play buttons. Cause it's like, I wonder what that list would look like if I get to all of them. I need a better way of tracking it now, to be frank, because like it makes sense to track it better. And what category would that one be under? What would that be under? I guess we'd classify that one as an education channel. Yeah, that would probably be an education channel. Or would it be people and blogs? I'd have to check. Sewing report would definitely be the how-to channel, so we definitely have that box checked. So many gamers, we could check the box there. Yeah, I just have to go through a checklist. Yep, good gaming strategy. Yep. I want to do edited gaming videos of older Star Wars games, but go through the whole library. With that, there's a special way that I would approach that as a Star Wars fan. A lot of it would be with edited games, but there'd probably be some challenge incorporated into them. Like, again, beating this with no force powers, doing this without a lightsaber. I'm not sure what this question means. So with your content, Let's Play Master, I thought you were doing a gaming channel, though. The gaming channel thing is easy. I mean, for the rest of that stuff, I think that you'd have to do spectacle storytelling content. Like, you'd have to do spectacle storytelling. Like, if you're a metal artist and you're into the cult or whatever, it's like maybe you'd have to do some spectacle content and everything like that. Maybe you'd have to do some kind of metal crafted art installation sculpture that is like, a storytelling spectacle thing. That's what you'd have to do. Because then that's like a broad scale thing that then would filter down to the people that are interested in similar things. Can you get an SBA loan for your YouTube channel? Not by itself. You'd have to, and this is not financial advice. No, you'd have to build a bigger business parent company that owns the YouTube channel, and the bigger business parent company that is probably a media or production company or what have you could theoretically get the loan, and then you'd have the YouTube channel. Then the YouTube channel would benefit from it as part of the marketing arm of the overall company. But that's also wildly impractical. It's also wildly impractical to go into debt to start a YouTube channel and take out a loan. And you usually don't need to, because all of you really overestimate the value of capital when it comes to a YouTube channel. To get it off the ground to where it can self-fund itself, and then you could just get sponsorships. It's like, I do not recommend taking out a loan. And I think too many business owners or online entrepreneurs who want to do it, I think one of their biggest problems is they focus way too much on capital. And this is not something where it requires a tremendous amount of capital. Is that an advantage? Yes. I know a lot of rich people who struggle to grow a YouTube channel. I know millionaires who suck at YouTube. I know quite literally multimillionaires that can't get views on YouTube and can't grow an audience, and they suck at it. And it doesn't matter how much money they throw at it, because no one's interested. There are also people who, frankly, the only reason there are people like in their life that deal with them are because of the fact they're millionaires. There's not that much else that is appealing about them in terms of their temperament. And that's why they also are not growing an audience, is because of their temperament. So I don't really believe in the strategy of using like loans or massive credit card debt to finance and fund a YouTube channel. I believe in doing what I did, is, brokey and struggle bussing it and bootstrapping it and going that route because it works. There's plenty of people who do it. Mr. Beast grew on a broken iPhone. Star Wars Fury grew on a broken iPhone. I mean, I'm not saying you do that forever. I'm saying you reinvest what you make to grow the channel. And that's what proves itself. And then it's not debt. I believe in going into as little debt for this as possible. I mean, one of the things I miss most is when I didn't have credit card debt, and I have credit card debt because I'm a homeowner and because we went through a pandemic and because I've got people in my family I help take care of, and there's expenses that go unforeseen. But literally just for myself, I'd have no debt. If I only took care of myself, I'd have no debt because I do not buy things that are not tax deductible for my business, essentially. And like, what I go and I have a fancy dinner like what once a week at most, usually every other week and everything like that. I take myself to sushi or a steakhouse or whatever, do something nice for myself like that. Most of my vacations are working vacations where I literally stay a couple extra days after a company pays for my flight to do something to work. So I try to go very frugal on that. Like, most of anything I spend money on is other people at this point. So I don't believe in going into debt for your content creation. I just do not believe in it. I need to earn that silver play button, 83.8K, working towards it. Yeah, maybe you work with me. You can find my coaching at awesomecreatoracademy.com. The Family Adventure says, how do I join your cohort? You can join the Academy Pro group by going to awesomecreatoracademy.com. All the information's over there. Johnny Q says, how do you know your channel is dying? If you're getting no impressions on YouTube. If you're getting no impressions, your channel is dying. But that's if you're uploading and getting no impressions. If you're uploading and you're getting impressions, it's not the channel is dying, it's that people are not choosing you, and you can change and then they will. Just do the work. Work on it. Improve yourself. Oh, you were pointing out that Henry posted that. Okay, all good. We got it. Yep, we got it. We got it. Roberto, do you have a favorite movie? Currently, it's Across the Spider-Verse. In general, favorite movies, things like Across the Spider-Verse, Rogue One, Revenge of the Sith, Return of the Jedi, The Force Awakens, Back to the Future trilogy, the original Matrix movie. Definitely love that one. Land Before Time, American Tail, for sure. Absolutely those. Land Before Time. Even if you're a grown adult and you watch A Land Before Time and you watch American Tail and you don't tear up or cry even just a little bit, you are a heartless, soulless individual, and there's no redeemable quality about you whatsoever if you do not cry during those films, or at least tear up or get emotional and everything like that. If Littlefoot's mother dying doesn't make you emotional, you're not stoic, you're not brave, you're just a soulless human being at that point, and nothing can convince me otherwise. American Tail. As a first-generation American, that's very special to me. Love that one. Still watch that as an adult. Very nostalgic. Back to the Future trilogy is amazing. Probably one of the only great trilogies of all time, aside from the Star Wars original trilogy, in terms of films and movies. What else? Original Matrix, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon is phenomenal. Love that. Revenge of the Sith. Still have a soft spot for Attack of the Clones. Like, everybody criticized the prequels at one point, but I loved them as a kid. Had some things about them because I became a CGI snob in my 20s, became a CGI snob. Then after that, got over it, said, you know what, they age well, especially the remastered versions. So, like, very happy with those. The prequel trilogy. When I say sequels, I meant the prequel trilogy. I liked the dialogue in The Last Jedi, but not as much of the story direction. I feel the writers failed Rey and failed Finn. They made Finn and Poe superfluous to the plot. I feel that Rey didn't get enough character development. There's wonderfully written characters like Ahsoka that get the proper character development. Darth Treya in Cotier got great character development. I think that Star Wars gets a bad rap when it comes to criticism of female characters, when it's like, no, the community loves female characters when they're written well. We love strong, powerful female characters when they're written extraordinarily well, because there's entire YouTube channels that have done video essays that are 40 minutes long dedicated to the philosophy of Darth Traya. So it's not even about attractiveness at that point. We like her as a character because she's the Nietzsche of Star Wars. She's the great philosopher of Star Wars, is Darth Traya. Everyone loves Darth Traya for her philosophy. You know, even though she's literally an old blind woman who's been cut off from the Force, she's so deep, and it just it's very thoughtful. And then we love Bastila Shan, because there's a such thing as the power of love saving you and about redemption, and everyone wants to be saved, everyone wants to be redeemed, everyone wants to have that. So there's that aspect of it. We love Ahsoka because of the fact that she was willing to walk away when she had complete faith in the Jedi Order and struggled with them, even when she questioned the morality of the Clone Wars. And then when they didn't have faith in her, she walked away from the Order. That takes strength and independence and not being a sheep and having a strong will. She also was completely devoted to her friends and comrades and brothers in arms and everything like that. The fact that she said, these men may be doomed to die, but I'm not going to be the one who executes them. When it came to the clones with Order 66, that's heartbreaking. That's like a strong character development. So we like well-written characters, and I like well-written characters. It doesn't matter who they are beyond being a well-written character. You need to be able to relate to characters. You need to be able to see growth. You need to be able to see struggle. You need to be able to relate to their pain. And as long as characters are well written, they can accomplish that. And I feel like with the sequel trilogy in particular, all of the characters were mostly failed by the writers. Finn especially was failed by the writers. There was so much they didn't do properly with his character development, and it's a real shame. John Boyega deserved better. Daisy Ridley's character, Rey, deserved better. People wanted to love Rey, and we were rooting for that. And we were disappointed because the thing is, unfortunately, what we got is someone wrote a power fantasy for themselves. Power fantasy works when you write dark side characters, because that power is an illusion, and it's about the fact that their power came at a price. They sold their soul for it. So the thing is, writing a power fantasy works when you write a villain, because it's a deal with the devil that resulted in that power. And that's the cautionary tale in it. Heroes have to struggle because being good and being righteous and being pure is supposed to be painful. It's supposed to be thankless. It's supposed to be selfless. And you're supposed to sacrifice for it in a different way. And it's supposed to be a hard decision to make versus the quick and easy path. And that's why bad writing is very apparent when it happens. But see, you're not allowed to criticize bad writing if there's an agenda that suggests that you can't, because then you're just called toxic. But the thing is, you could have valid criticism of it. And the thing is, my defense of it is, I think the actors deserved better. I think the characters deserved better. They weren't treated with the respect and care that their characters deserved. It's a damn shame. It's crying shame, because again, it's a missed opportunity. And, and so when I think about my favorite movies involve characters that were well written, treated with love and care and respect by their creators. And there's a way to do power fantasy if you're going to do it. Kill Bill is a great example of doing power fantasy correctly. The reason that Uma Thurman's character, Beatrix Kiddo, the bride, works is because, one, she actually struggles for that power. And then two, we're sympathizing with her, but she's not a good person. She's not really a hero. She's not really a hero. She's a terrible person. She's a killer for hire that somehow grew a conscience. She's not absolved of her sins. But we're rooting for her because we believe the people that she's taking out are more evil. And so that's why power fantasy works in Kill Bill. And that's why we can be sympathetic to her character, because the thing is, she's a killer with a cause, and that's revenge. And we sympathize in that way, much like the Count of Monte Cristo, except for he was a good man who was betrayed by his ideals and by being a good man. And so it's a no good deed goes unpunished. Nice guys finish last. And that's where the reversal of his character, as he transforms himself and does the work through his suffering and pain, his powers are earned for him to become the Count of Monte Cristo and then reap his revenge, which is also one of my favorite films. The book is arguably better. The films don't do complete justice to the book. With regard to the fact there's that many things that are changed. I could argue that the early, I think it's the 60s version, might have been better in some ways, but I did like the updated version in the 2000s. So I really like the Count of Monte Cristo. Mask of Zorro I also enjoyed for the similar reasons. Obviously, you see, I could have done an entertainment channel that's focused on film. See, like I could have done that. I did get views when I did the Game of Thrones videos. So yeah. So I mean, yeah, favorite films basically focus around character development, philosophy, the nature of good and evil, duality, things like that, redemption. Those are themes that I resonate with. And that's why there are films that I like. And then the films that I have the most criticism of, shows I have the most criticism of, it's ones where I feel that they don't do justice to the characters. They don't do character development, or it feels unearned or hollow in some way, or when power fantasy is done incorrectly. I don't like that because I feel it's lazy writing. So, yeah. So there you go. You learned a little bit more about Roberto today. Very impressive how you can come up with a legitimate plan that can work just by reading a question live. Yeah, for me, it's because I have enough experience and I've worked with enough creators to do that. And so that helps me tremendously. Experience is a very powerful tool when it comes to that. It's a great hack. Yep, start with what you have. Absolutely. You don't need all the money in the world to grow a YouTube channel. Education is way more important. Often, yes, but also execution on that education. A lot of people, they learn, they study, but then they don't do the work. They don't execute on what they've learned, or they don't do it effectively, or they don't do it long enough. So education matters, but executing on that works too. Or that works. Executing on it is important as well. Putting money where it doesn't come from is not an investment. Well said. That's actually very true, and that's actually pretty deep. That's great. Fair enough. How do you know get title ideas viral? Either this is a lot of typos, or it might not be an English speaker. I'm assuming, how do you know how to make titles that will go viral? The reality is virality is not organic for most people. I know that this will sound controversial. Viral videos aren't real. Literally, viral videos are not real. Now, with the exception of YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Instagram Reels, blah, 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 because their algorithms are on steroids for that. And large, it's because they count impressions as views, to be honest with you. A lot of that's not real either. But viral videos are not real. When a video gets 100 million views, it's because the same 5 to 10 million people watched it like 5 to 10 times. And it's because the original 500,000 to 1 million people shared that video with enough people to scale it. So you have to understand what a viral video is. Why is a video viral? A viral video, and the reason it's called a viral video, is because it's using the concept of virology, which is infectious disease, right? And so infections, we just went through a pandemic. So it's about, the virus is spreading, the video is spreading. So viral videos, all of you think that viral videos are about the algorithm taking off. That's not true. Viral videos are literally not real. Viral videos are manufactured and they're contrived. Viral videos are designed to grab attention of a certain sector, a broad sector of the market. So first of all, viral videos have to have broad appeal. Broad appeal is usually, again, something is too good to be true. Something is absurd, fantastical. Something is dangerous. Something is scary. Something is aspirational. Something is, so it harnesses surface level emotional triggers and reactions. So first of all, viral videos are contrived to manipulate you at an emotional level and not appeal to logic. So that's the first part of them that's not real. They're already a manufactured, contrived illusion to manipulate your base level emotions to attract attention. So inherently, they're not real at the beginning. So that's the first level of viral videos not being real. Number two, viral videos are not real on that level because they're a contrived thing for that purpose. So it's not organic in that way because it's not an organically, naturally happening phenomenon usually. So it's already contrived. It's already designed to do this. So then it's hijacking your limbic system and it's getting a response and reaction out of you. And then it's making something that's then compelling in the story that then makes you want to share this experience that just hijacked all your emotions and caused your adrenaline to spike with other people, because we want to share experiences that then we want people to relate to around us. So then we're going to spread it. So that's the infectious disease part. That's the virology part. So it's like, so now you're going to talk with this with 10 people. And then when you share it with them, you're going to watch it again and you're going to want to re-experiencing it. So now you're watching it. They're watching it multiple times. They're doing likewise, so on and so forth, domino effect. And so the thing is, by having broad appeal, it already has the highest potential for that. It then reaches those core people. It does that. Now, if the person then builds a following doing this, now there are people showing up for their hit of adrenaline. They're showing up buying their morning coffee. It's now a ritual that this is their adrenaline. This is their dopamine hit. This is their high. So now they're showing up for the people they subscribe to for that. So they're showing up to their dealer basically. And then they're doing that. And it's a ritual now. And then they're recruiting more people into the ritual. This cult of personality 101. So now they're doing that. And now it's more likely to always take off. Then it does get some algorithm push from that. And then I think, but it's also more likely to get more people say, oh, did you see it? Did you think? And if you didn't see it, you're now out of the group. So now it's in-group behavior versus out-group behavior. So again, this is the science of viral videos. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. This is the science of viral videos. Viral videos, in by their nature, unless you are literally capturing a natural occurring thing in the wild that you then posted that went viral, serendipity, that's different. But most viral videos are not serendipity of capturing a phenomenon in the wild or something like that. You know, catching a bank robbery as it happens, or catching somebody falling down the stairs in a ridiculous fashion, or this or that. It's not a naturally occurring phenomenon. Viral videos are produced, contrived, scripted, and orchestrated, and they're done so in the manner that I suggested. Generally speaking, that's the generalization of it. And then they're hijacking human behavior in a very predictable way and manipulating it. It's social engineering and conditioning. So it's inherently not real. It's fake by that nature. Okay. It's not organic. And so then people are talking about it, word of mouth. They're searching. They're doing all these things and everything like that. So it's a complete manipulation, which is fine. I'm not criticizing it on those grounds or whatever. I'm explaining what it is. So again, if you break down the science of viral videos, that's what they are. Now, the thing is, most people don't have the capacity to do anything that would cause that. Why? Because to make a video viral like that, you have to be either capable of breaking a world record. You have to be capable of a physical feat that 99% of humans cannot. You have to have money to create an experience that 99% of humans would like to experience but can't. You have to have a level of ability or skill to do something that 99% of humans want to or wish they could do but can't. Or you have to be able to challenge the laws of plausibility in a way that is scary or weird to 99% of humans that they can't help but watch, like literally watching a train wreck. Primary example, Mark Rober dropping a van onto a trampoline and seeing what happens is that appeals to the overwhelming majority of people, but it's anxiety inducing. That's adrenaline spiking. See? Now, how many people have the resources, money, capital, the engineering background from NASA? See, he has the capacity to do something you can't do. If you're not an engineer, you cannot make Mark Rober's content. If you're not rich, you cannot make Mr. Beast content. If you're not physically fit enough, you can't do some of the things Logan Paul, KSI, and Jake Paul do because you're not physically fit enough to do it. You can't do the Assassin's Creed in real life parkour videos if you're not an athlete. That's why those videos go viral. You see, if you don't have prodigy level technical abilities to do something, physical abilities as an athlete to do something, resources as a very successfully financially well-off individual to do something, or a specific background, access to things that most people don't have due to a clearance or something like that, or a lifestyle, so on and so forth. There are things, or a level of attractiveness that allows you to do certain things. It's just, you are not going to be able to make a viral video. You do not qualify for a viral video. You can't do it. You don't qualify for it. If you're the best gamer in the world, that's talent, that's training, that's skill. Best gamer in the world can make a viral video because they can accomplish a feat that a large number of people who play the game cannot. This is why most people, myself included, don't or can't go viral. I could go viral if I break a Guinness World Record. There are Guinness World Records that you could break if you're me for photography or live streaming, but I haven't done it. I haven't attempted it. I don't know that I will. I don't know that I care that much. but you could go viral doing that. There are weird things that you could do to go viral in the tech or camera niche. If I wanted to spend $10,000 to buy the most expensive camera that I can and literally take it apart and disassemble it on video, maybe I get viral doing that, but that's going to cost me a lot of money, and it's a big gamble to do that. So there you go. Like, that would require tremendous resources that 99% of people don't have, and also some expertise to be able to pull that off too, and film it well. And where's my backup plan if I screw it up? I'm out a bunch of money. What are you going to do? So you see what I'm saying? It's like there's a reason that people usually don't go viral. Alternatively, theoretically, someone could go viral if they're willing to torture themselves. That's a terrible idea, but people do that because if you're willing to suffer in a way that 99% of people won't suffer for attention, then you go viral doing that. But that's why people get injured or even die going viral. So probably not a good idea. So you see what I'm saying? This is the science of viral videos. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. It's not like a regular traditional career in that sense. You don't need a certificate to become a successful creator. Tech King Mike says, Roberto, what sources do you have for help in creating a content plan? Actually, I do a lot of that directly with people. There is something I have. We don't have a landing page for it, really. Not yet, anyway. I don't think. Or do we? Let me see. Or do we? Hang on. Tech King Mike, I'm going to try and find something for you that we might have. And see what the deal is. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can hook you up, Tech King Mike. Because if I'm right, this will, in theory, help you. Here it is. Okay. So Tech King Mike. Over at awesomecreatoracademy.com/store, if you scroll down to the very bottom in terms of resources for new creators, even though you're not a new creator, if you go to awesomecreatoracademy.com/store and you go to the very, very bottom, there's these things called the Creator Success Blueprints. If you get that product, that one is really good for helping you create a content plan, but also working with me personally is an option, and that could be a good one. So that's something I would also recommend as a possibility. But if your specific issue is creating a content plan and a content strategy and figuring out your content pillars, I would say that either joining the pro group and working with us over a period of time by joining the pro group is probably a really good idea, or working with me one-on-one. And I am familiar with your content. And I've worked with a lot of people we mutually know. And I would also say that maybe if you want to try to have a direction, but do it on your own, Creator Success Blueprints are only $9.99, and that's a good product to buy to get some more clarity, because it has about maybe, I think, 10 or 12 of these frameworks that I showed on screen. We have a bundle of those. I think it's 10 or 12 of them in the Creator Success Blueprints, and we'll be adding to them over time, as well as some other resources. So that's just something to think about if your particular struggle is that you are trying to work on developing a content plan or content strategy or build out your pillars. Yep. Yeah, no. Oh, geez. OGs respect Land Before Time and American Tail. Those Don Bluth animated films were the GOAT back in the day. No, you don't need a degree or diploma, but I would tell you to graduate high school. Don't drop out of high school to be a YouTuber. Dropping out of high school to be a YouTuber is stupid, and I don't approve of anyone who's doing it. I know there's a handful of big creators could do that. Good for them. A lot of them were privileged. So, like, go finish school, everybody, as far as at least high school. Get your high school diploma. Get your DEG. No, you don't need a certificate to be a content creator, but you do need to build your skills. You probably need to work a full-time job until it's viable. I would highly recommend for anyone who doesn't want to live in poverty that there are some very simple steps you can follow to not live in poverty. Finish high school, bare minimum, get a GED, but finish high school. Become full-time, gainfully employed. Stay full-time, gainfully employed. Do not have a criminal record. Do not have any addictions to substances, and do not have any of those vices. Stay gainfully employed, what we said. Avoid having any type of criminal record. Ideally, as cliche as it sounds and as preachy as it sounds, don't have children out of wedlock. If possible, don't have them or become married before you're 21. And if you do those things, there's a extraordinarily statistically high probability you will not be in poverty. If you're going to be a content creator, do not go into debt. Do not drop out of school in terms of high school. When it comes to college, if you are going to college for a viable career field that can provide you a solid income, finish doing that. If you can avoid debt while doing it, that would be better. And then get a full-time income with a good salary. Use your extra money from that by living frugally to invest in your entrepreneurial ventures and your content creation. Avoid debt. Save money. Be consistent. Stay gainfully employed for as long as possible. Stay dual income for as long as possible. Create multiple streams of income over a period of time. Play the long game. Don't take shortcuts. Avoid trying to cheat. If you do these things, and if you don't make absurd high-risk gambles on a long enough timeline, you have a higher probability of being successful than you do of failing. But the thing is, it's boring as hell. It requires discipline, hard work, being earnest, being honest, doing things the wrong way. It is not sexy. It will not win you over. It will not win you over friends or tremendous influence at first. But it has one of the most consistency and diligence and discipline, has the highest track record of success of all time. Of all time. Doing the right thing for 10 years in a row straight, over and over, and then another 10 years, has the highest track record of producing successful people of all time. And no one wants to do it, and no one wants to hear it, because everyone wants to have their freaking fun, and then they wonder why they don't have a future. Cold as it is, that's the truth of it. So there you go. I said what I said. Hey, Roberto, thanks for all the value. Question. I'm seeing many YouTubers who grew quickly during the COVID era are now going back to 9-to-5 jobs. Do you think there's a trend here? Yes, because they were not successful before the pandemic. They were in a pandemic bubble that made their success. And since they did not earn those powers under normal conditions, now that we're in a new normal, they don't have the capacity to maintain it. And this is happening to YouTubers, streamers, entrepreneurs, all kinds of people, because they thought that the good times would always be good and that they just keep growing the same way. And they did not account for the fact that they had an anomaly work in their favor. It brought them back down to earth, and they realized that they weren't prepared for that. And I tried to tell people that that would be the case. I tried my very best to prepare people for that. I tried my best to help people avoid it. I knew that that was going to happen. And it's a shame. It's a crying shame. But the thing is, you can't have special conditions that grow you. And then when those conditions end, expect things to maintain or be the same. And that expectation is what ruined a lot of these people, because they operated under the assumption that their growth was something other than being a beneficiary of this current anomaly. Whereas there's a way to take advantage of that, but also be prepared for it to go away. Let's see. Mostly been struggling with the type of content I want to deliver and create consistent structure around it. Yeah, that's rough sometimes, to be honest. Part of why I decided to go with the live streaming route, to be honest with you. For questions about the brand deals and sponsorship stuff, I would recommend watching my videos around that. It'll answer most of your questions around that specifically. Hey, we all make mistakes, and recognizing them, moving forward, doing the best we can with what we have where we are is all anyone can ask for. Smart Brother ask, good to see you, brother. Roberto, have you noticed mid-sized YouTubers' views shrinking? There is a lot of market forces at work that affect viewership right now. And so it just depends, and it depends on what niche you're in, depends on what you're doing, because we're just dealing with new market dynamics. We're living in a post-pandemic world. We're in a post-pandemic world. So like that's the thing. If we're in a post-pandemic world, people's viewing patterns change because their psychology and their mental health change. Also, there's a difference between people have to go back to school, people have to go back to work. They don't have the time to consume as much content. So now they have different priorities and they prioritize different things. They're also emotionally in a different place, so they prioritize different things. So no, if you grew during a pandemic, even if people liked you during the pandemic, doesn't mean they like you today. Doesn't like you today. Like the pandemic was an anomaly. It was a period in time. It was a cultural event and phenomenon. And you can't expect that what existed then or how people felt then is how they feel now. That's the difference. So people have not adapted. Yep. Anywho, that's going to be it for this one, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for all the live super chats. Thank you for all of the well wishes. We have another one scheduled for Monday. So we will see you all there. Stay awesome. I'll catch you next time. Bye.